doing my part. I'm 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 doing my part.
Hello! It is so dark today, so we are looking a little bit gloomy. I feel like there have been maybe 1 or 2 live streams where it's really become very obvious that I need an extra external
I'm
light.
doing my part.
And this is one of those days. I'm literally using my monitor to help at all. If I don't have my like this Wikipedia page open, it goes like this, even darker. So we can have the dark, like moody, I guess with the green, almost Matrix vibes. If I didn't have a brick wall, I think it would be even darker. Your hair longer is more sexy. My hair's always long. Like, I don't know what you're referencing, Zombie Cat. My hair is always long. Like, it's do you want it longer again? If you look at any of my live streams, it's pretty much always this long. Anyhow, what's up, one non-blonde? What's that meant to mean? I feel like I look pretty blonde today, actually, but maybe that's just me. Good morning, hope you're feeling better. Thank you so much, Ian. I am feeling better. That is why I'm here. I don't really know what is affecting me, but it doesn't matter what was affecting me as long as it is not affecting me going forward. And here we are. But for those who are new and missed it, I took a few days off last week. That's just it. That's it. But we're here. We're good. No, oh, you want me to whisper? Okay, hold on. 6, 7. There you go. That is, if you're thinking that that was not a whisper, then my mic's just really, really good. Hi, nurse. How you going? So I actually have a response to this question because of being a magician. I actually have a vertical clip that you can go back and watch. So go check out every single one of my vertical clips until you find the video. It's nice and early, so I'll give you that for free. So go and check out my shorts because it has someone who has given the exact same pickup line I gave them my response. So you're welcome. I do not play Roblox. No, I've never played Roblox in my entire life, but I know there's a lot of appeal for it, and I'm going to be so real. I don't really know why, but that's because I've never played it. Anyway, just a few highs to everyone who also is doing their part. Thanks for popping in nice and early while I was getting my tea. Much appreciated. Welcome on back, Brad. Cassidy, hi Dan. And then we had some people even before that doing their part. Tim, hello. How you going? G'day, g'day. I hope you're doing well. I'm not sure if it's Baki or Bachi. So if you can give me that like nice and early, then I can get my pronunciation out of the way. That would bring me much joy. That is not words, James. Try again. Try again with your words, and maybe we will be able to answer your question. Baki. Okay. Oh, actually, now I'm doubting the A. Baki. Baki. The A at least I will blame my accent for. The double C could have been that's one that we can clear up, but the A I'm probably gonna say wrong. That one I'll blame on my accent. What do you mean you're looking in that shirt? I mean, look at me. Look at me, glowy. Look, I'll turn this off and then you'll see what I mean. Is that better? You can see it now. It's just, this is what I mean. It's dark, baby. It's dark. Oh, my apologies. You're pointing it out because you also lurk in the shadows. That's my bad. When you bump into someone else in the shadows, you're not expecting it. It's dark and it's a surprise. I was lashing out. That's on me. Love your hair. You look like a princess. Thank you so much, Tim. That's really kind. I'm surprised that it's even being picked up with how dark it is today. For those who are new, because we've had a few follows, and so thank you guys very much. And thank you for being here. It's not usually this dark. I moved here to England. I'm originally from New Zealand, but I moved to England about 3 months ago. I can't believe it's been 3 months. And I managed to delay and procrastinate buying an external light because, surprisingly enough, it doesn't rain every single day in England. I know, what a shocker. And so I've been relying on my sunlight. This is not my sunlight. This is a ceiling LED thing that's not very aesthetically pleasing. But I have a sunlight just off camera, and I've been relying on that to be my my extra light to light things up, as it were. Giant Ray, thank you so much. Much appreciated. I'm gonna turn my sound up because it's a little bit low. There we go. And it's rainy today, so I think that I must bite the bullet and buy a light. Why am I so uncomfortable today? There we go. Okay, that feels better. That feels much better. Don't hit me. I will not hit you. Don't worry. Like I said, I got surprised and all these kinds of things from everyone, but that's okay. Hi from Cambodia. Hello. That's a long way from here, but very exciting. Yeah, only every other day is it raining. Good morning, Cam. How you going? Oh, good afternoon to you. Got a notification about Duo the Green Owl trying to kidnap me because I didn't do my Italian. Italian's fun. I haven't done Duo in a long time. I got up to like a 500-day streak, but I found that, that can sound impressive, but I found that it just became like I wasn't actually doing the lessons. I was just getting a streak. So I would do the bare minimum just to get a streak rather than sitting down and learning, you know? The amount you move around whilst talking, I was always worried you're going to spill your tea all over yourself. Well, I'm practiced, you know? Give it time, though. Delightful. And thank you for doing your part, Gum. But yeah, Duolingo, I started doing it when, I don't know when it first came out. I like to believe that I was an early adopter of Duolingo, but I'm probably wrong about that. Duolingo. No, I don't want to log in. I want the wiki page. There we go. Yes, isn't that crazy? 99 days. Duolingo Inc. Founded in 2011. Okay, so I was not one of the first. I would have started it in like 2016, I want to say. 2011, damn, impressive. But yeah, I picked it up so that I could better learning German. My dad is German. I do not speak fluent German, so I thought, you know what, I'll try. I was looking at other apps. Sorry. Hold on. Hold on. I just saw on the Wikipedia page Duolingo offers courses on 42 languages, ranging from English, French, and Spanish to less commonly studied languages such as Hawaiian, Maori, and Navajo. When did they add Maori? I was talking about this for ages that Maori is one that I wish that they had. It's just asked me if I want to revive my 645-day streak. Let's see what happens. Do 3 lessons in a row to revive your streak. Ready? Let's go. Well, I don't want to do it now. I just wanted... Now it's forcing me to do my lessons. Oh, God. Just so that I can get my 645-day streak. And it's given me Japanese to start with. So basically, what I was going to say is I picked up German so that I could basically learn better German. And I had a base, so I was kind of doing fine. And then I tried Japanese a couple times, and that's why it's picked up now. And I kept on saying, I just wish that they had Maori on it, because my Maori is so basic and so bad, let's be real. And although Duolingo is not, in my opinion, the best app to actually digest and learn a language, it gives you basic vocabulary to start with, and that would be pretty cool to have. So now I'm gonna have to do these lessons and see how good a job they do on Maori. And I'm like a few degrees separation removed from the people who potentially would be working on that app. So I need to get in there and see what's going on. I'm very excited. I also do it for the streak and not for the learning. Exactly, right? And so when I first picked it up, I think I did a pretty good job of like dedicating 10 minutes of my day to fully absorbing what I was doing. And then after, 600 days, and even more, that is my most recent streak. But like I said, I'm pretty sure I picked up on it in 2016, maybe 17. Oh, wait, when did I move to Australia? No, it would have been before 2016, because I was doing it before I moved into that house. So 2014, let's say. And I was doing very well on German for a while, but then it just became monotony, I guess. Hello. Do you believe in God, or are you an atheist? Here we have a very cop-out answer for you, Soul. I'm agnostic. So I'm not an atheist because I don't follow some of the more mainstream religions, so Islam, Christianity, so on, not even Buddhism. But I am a spiritual person, and so that's why I don't consider myself atheist altogether. So I put myself right on that fence with agnostic. What do you think of Tommy Robinson? I only learnt his name last week. So, funnily enough, Robert, I actually live in Southampton these days. And so that is why I learnt of Tommy Robinson's, alias, I should say, rather than his name. Because of the riot that happened in Southampton. I was coming home from my Dungeons and Dragons night that I have once a week, and it was a very lovely, clear sky evening, and I could see a helicopter in the distance. I was like, what the heck is going on over there, I wonder? And I didn't think much more of it until I got home and my housemate filled me in. So that is a new name to me that I guess is all I will say on the matter for now. It doesn't go to 100. Oh, there we go. That's why Calm said 99 plus days. I'm sure that I could fix that, but I like the idea of it just being to 99. It gives me the same 2-3 lessons to revive. Oh, well, it's up to you if you want to revive it. It feels like a cheat, but I will be doing it, let's be real. Domo arigato, Mr. Roboto. That is not in my Duolingo. Duo is meant to be fun. It's meant to be gamified. It's meant to be a game, and so it's meant to be fun. Hello from Africa. Hello, Dylan. It's a pleasure to have you here, and Mr. Gabe as well. If I'm insane, am I allowed to ask this question? Sure, why not? My Duo icon looks like it's drawn by a 1-year-old. Let me have a look if mine's the same. Yeah, I can see that too. It's like, oh, crazy looking. What is going on there? I guess because it's Duo. I do think that the personality is what Duolingo does very well, of having an icon, having a, what do they call it, a mascot that people really find endearing. Here in Africa, we are more spiritual than religious. Yes, and so I feel similarly, Dylan, because I have I've been brought up. How many? How put this? So I'm Maori, and there's a lot of spirituality in the Maori culture. There are a lot of more religious Maori these days, and that's kind of how I was brought up, with this Christian upbringing. But I don't follow the Christianity anymore. But I do still feel there's a lot of this appreciation for nature and earth, and kind of thanking the earth for what the earth gives us. And that is kind of what has been more. That's what stuck with me as an adult, rather than the Christianity. And I feel like a lot of indigenous cultures share that feeling still, that culture still. And from what I'm aware, there are a lot of African tribes that are in a similar boat too. You sound so articulate, though. That accent makes everything sound intelligent. I'm not sure about that, but thank you so much for now. That is nice. You got a nice face. You got nice words. Hi, Delta. You look just like your daddy. Funnily enough, I actually do look very, very, very much like my father. He's never been on camera, though, so you guys can't confirm that. But trust me, we do look surprisingly similar. Of course, Dom, of course. It's just a pleasure to have you here. Big white teeth indeed. All the better to eat you with. Ha ha ha, said the wolf. Wait, I don't know what rendition I'm doing. Obi, hello. If the daily Klempai streak is with Mix It Up, it's the setting of the streak. Default is 99. You just gotta increase it. Yeah, that's why I said I'm pretty sure I'll be able to fix it. But thank you, Obi. I do appreciate the confirmation there. Hi, Janman and Mr. Dunham as well. Thank the earth she is willing to have us walk on her. Exactly. So I find that's kind of the spirituality that I have, is about Mother Nature herself. I like your personality. Oh, stop. Now you're really flattering me. I lurkies for bed, of course. It's nice to see you as well, Dolta. Thank you for stopping by before your sleeps. We will chat more when we can chat more. Okay, so back to the Duolingo. So I feel like this is going to be an absolute cheat to repair my streak, but at the same time, it feels like a tactical decision from Duolingo Inc., as I have now learnt their company name, because there'd be such a deterrent for so many people of losing their potentially 100-day streak, and they're like, oh, well, I'm just never going to do it again. So if you wait long enough, you can repair it, which feels very cheeky. And although I can agree with it in some regards, it does feel like a little bit of a cheat. And I was kind of looking forward to going back to day 0. So maybe I won't do the 3 lessons to revive my streak. I'll just go back to day 0, and then that can be my... All right, here we are. We're starting at the beginning. And I just wanted to check out Maori, because Maori, as the wiki page says, it's less commonly studied. And for me, I've wanted to be better at Maori for so long. I studied Maori in school. I personally find it ridiculous that in New Zealand it is not taught by default. But I was doing it in school, so I got a little bit of a base. But the same way that people who learn French might get a little bit of a base, it's not enough to be fluent. And I've looked into trying to learn it in my own time, but it's so much easier to learn anything with structure. That is why people go to universities for things, for example. It's not impossible to say learn. Well, psychology comes up a lot on the channel, so it's not impossible to learn psychology in your own time. But it's a lot easier when you have structure and you just turn up in a day and someone gives you the thing rather than you having to find the thing. And then that spawns another thing and you're like, oh God, where do I find that? So I am very curious to see how Duolingo teaches Maori. And potentially I would even look at subjecting you guys to some of that as well. Hi, Daniel. Welcome on back. You seem fun and down to earth. Yeah, but that's just now. Other times I'm crazy. Hi, Boba. You look like me. Are your eyes green? No, they are very dark brown, almost black, to be honest. Funnily enough, so many people, they know the statistic that redhead blue eyes is a very tiny what's it called, demographic percentage population. There's a small demographic of gingers in the world, and they are aware of this and have heard how redhead blue-eyed individuals are part of this small demographic. However, I argue that I've seen more redheads with blue eyes than I've seen redheads with brown eyes, and I've never seen a redhead with green eyes. So I would be more curious to see that. I feel like that's bringing the demographic and niche even smaller. Maybe not brown eyes. That one I'm willing to accept might be less rare than blue-eyed redheads. But the green-eyed redheads, whew, I've never seen one in my life. And I think there must be like the people who are breeding redheads, and yes, I am gonna say that all blasphemic, or like was blasphemic or blasphemous. I am going to say that very blasphemously. I don't know if these are words, but anyway, I'm going to say that flippantly, because I'm allowed to, because I'm a redhead. Anyway, those who are breeding redheads, I suspect that they also have the genes that pass down the blue eyes, and so people like me, it's actually like a mutation that I'm a redhead rather than it being passed down. And yes, there probably was some recessive genes from both my parents, but it was so far back that I'm just like, I don't know why I'm a redhead. I love the Irish accent and want to learn it. I would love to learn the Irish accent as well. I tried to learn it at one point, but I can't say I'm good at it. And I've also learned that top of the morning to you, they don't actually say, so I don't say that. Good morning. I'm not sure how everyone is, but I hope you're well. You're the first person who heard that I come from Africa and have not mentioned taking lions and elephants to school's work, so thank you. Well, Dylan, I lived in Australia for a while. Not Australian, but I lived there, and so the Aussies get all the kangaroos, so I'm very well aware of the stereotypes. Us New Zealanders, I mean, we get the rugby, but as in the All Blacks, but otherwise I don't think we cop too much stereotyping. But being so close to Australia, I do understand it. Oh, but on that, did you ride elephants to school? I tease. Hi, Cactus John. Tasmanian devil is my favorite animal. No way. There's only there was a sanctuary that I went to when I was in Australia, where I got to see them out and about, very, very actively because they're nocturnal. So often when you go to a zoo in Australia, they're just sleeping or hidden. But the sanctuary, it's in or near Melbourne, I should say. It's called Moonlight Sanctuary for anyone who's there, and you get to go just walk around at night and see a lot of the nocturnal animals, and it was really awesome. So the Tasmanian devils were out and about, waiting for their feed, and it was cool. hmm Using Duolingo to learn language doesn't work personally. Yes, and that's why I stopped as well. I learned Arabic from my girlfriend, though. Likewise, my girlfriend learned Hebrew from me. That's awesome. And I completely agree. Like I said, that's why I stopped Duolingo, because I found that it was good for some vocabulary, but not necessarily the sentence structures. The only reason that I was doing okay is because I already had a base, and so it was good for me to better my vocabulary. I did better some of my grammar, but it's not great. And there's nothing, this is for German, sorry. But there's nothing in the app that really helps you understand why you would use one version of the over another and when that changes. They just expect you to repeat and repeat and repeat, and then hope you get it right without the understanding of why you're getting it right versus wrong, and then put the paywall of put the paywall for if you want to learn more about it. Hi Naznaz. I have red hair and blue eyes. No way, Dylan. There we go. So you're part of that small demographic. I'm here with green eyes. Well, I got the brown. Just color context away from achieving very funny blue. Brown eyes are the most common. Yeah, everyone has at least one, exactly. Don't want to cause a mass panic, but you forgot to put on overalls this morning. No, it's just that they're so dark that you can't see them. So I do have the dungarees on. Let me see if I go into the light more. There we go. Ah! It's just because it's super gloomy today and these are black. So they are here. Back in black indeed. My girlfriend has blonde hair and blue eyes. Well, I have dark brown eyes. There we go. I'm assuming you have dark hair as well. Kiwis, indeed. Personally, I believe the dark red hair gene is the ancient Aryan they were searching for. Let's not bring that into it, shall we? But I will giggle about it still. I got a Kiwi friend and she lives in Nelson, New Zealand. My cousins live in Nelson, New Zealand. I doubt that there's any crossover, but I know where you're talking about. Hi, Matrix. I did take a donkey to my metric farewell and freaked out all the teachers. I don't know what a metric farewell is, but the fact that you brought a donkey is very exciting. Everyone else took fancy cars. I took my mom's favorite donkey. That's adorable. I think it's funny as well. Odalune, good to see you. The sentence "fucked up 6 ways this Sunday" is not learnable in Duolingo, so that's enough for me to delete it. It's funny that you say that because although I can speak German to an extent, like I said, not fluent, I don't know any swear words. I think the only swear word I know is the one for like slut, and that's because Boba in the chat somewhere taught it to me. So that's not really a good base, but it's true. We don't get the colloquialisms, you know. I can breathe again. Hi, Real Bad Daddy. Have you seen the new Minecraft sequel reveal trailer? As in movie or game? Because either way, I haven't seen it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be asking the question. But either way, that's a bizarre thing. Movie? Okay, so... Sorry, the movie did well enough to warrant a sequel. Is that what you were telling me? That's what you're telling me. I am, you know what? I didn't watch it. That doesn't mean that a whole bunch of other people didn't watch it either. So maybe it was better than I realized. Hi, Yoda. I want to move to New Zealand. New Zealand is so beautiful, and I think it is a amazing place to live. Just be prepared for the cost of living. So if you have a decent paying job, you'll be fine. But if you are going over and you'll be doing entry-level jobs, then it will be very expensive. So supermarket shopping, for example, is very expensive. Housing, of course, but that's everywhere. But if you've already got quite a comfortable job and you can get a transfer and a visa with that job, like if you so for example, pretty much every country in the world is looking for doctors and whatnot. And I'm not saying you're a doctor, but using that as an example that everyone knows that countries are very welcoming of doctors. And so something like that would be fine. The cost of living would still be bad, but you'd have hopefully a decent enough wage where it's okay. Pomelo, Citrusella. Before I head to work, thoughts on the Lego situation as it stands for now. Oh, I actually didn't see if there were any updates yesterday. Oh, wait. When did CoffeeZilla do an update? So the latest update I have seen from the Lego situation is CoffeeZilla is also in it now, which is crazy. The Lego situation. Okay, here's my immediate thoughts. I'll make it nice and succinct since you have to go to work. I wouldn't be surprised if Reckless Ben ends up in jail. The beautiful thing about his job as in YouTube is that it wouldn't necessarily affect him, because I think if he goes to jail over this, then people will just see him as a bit of a, like, not a martyr, but as people will either be really upset about it or they'll kind of laugh about it and hope that he gets out early. I think he's got a lot of people on his team. I do think there are things that Reckless Ben did that he shouldn't have done, but you know, he's Reckless Ben. It is crazy how many people are trying to cover this thing up. Seems like there's a lot of backpedaling from the CEO. The fact that they fired the two franchisee owners, I think makes complete sense, and I'm glad that they've done that. I think it's too little too late. And then the next thing with all the people who are inciting their it's people out there trying to go to different bricks and minifigs stores, I think is not helping the case whatsoever. And so I guess the real commentary is that so in the city that I'm living in, there was also a riot that happened recently. I've also seen a lot of riots happening after sports matches and whatnot. And it's made me think this Lego situation, regardless of what I think about the Lego situation, other than, what, this is crazy. It's so crazy that it feels like it's fake. I can't believe it's still happening. I thought that it was months ago, but some of this stuff is happening in real time, which is bonkers. But Ben has absolutely achieved his goal of going viral. He's done a great job there. So many people are jumping on board with it, and I'm lapping it up. I love it. But what it's actually done, for me personally, is just think about how many people are struggling with direction, and they've got all of this energy and don't know where to place it. And so that's why I think some fights are breaking out, because there are these anti-heroes or these people who are like sitting at home and, like I said, have this energy, don't know what to do with it, and so they're copycatting. And similarly with the sports matches and people, they're like, now I don't have my sports, what do I do? And so it's incidentally made me think about that more. The cops part, yeah, exactly. Getting all the redacted stuff was, juicy. Anyway, for those who do not know what the hell I'm talking about, Reckless Ben, Lego Scandal, it's like an actual TV series. I am lapping it up. Okay, let me catch up with some of these other messages. Ryan asked if I am as happy as I seem. I do seem like a very happy person, but I have off days. So when I am here, I am happy. I am doing well. I am like this is who I am. But there are definitely days, and I can tell you that over the last week I had some pretty low days. But that doesn't mean that it discounts the positivity that I feel now, if that makes sense. So I think the reason why I seem like a happy person is because I let that happiness live in tandem with the low moments in life. And that is my little, I don't know, do with it what you will, I suppose. I looked up the word that's mutafika. Everyone can probably work out the translation. Yeah, I guess so. Fika is kind of boring though, isn't it? Want me to teach you something in sir. Did I do the right click? I don't think I did the right click, but I tried. So I went to South Africa in February, and I tried to learn at least how to say. Oh, I've lost it already. But yes, that would be amazing. But please, a word that doesn't have a click with it, because I will be very bad at it. But yes, you're welcome. Welcome to Afrikaans. I have some friends who speak Afrikaans, so I would be much more inclined to learn something from. I've lost all confidence. I went in there hard, but I've lost all confidence. But if you can teach me something from there, that would be great, because I have enough people who can teach me Afrikaans. I'll never be able to afford moving to New Zealand. Don't even have a job in my own country. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so it would be tough for sure. G'day, mate. Advice applies to all countries. So you say that, Mark, but as someone who used to live in Australia, I've really realized how good Australia has it. Yes, Australians complain about the housing market, but gosh darn it, their cost of living is way better than a lot of other countries in the world. The infrastructure is great, the medical side of things. Australia has a lot going for it, and leaving Australia has really made me realize that. That's all. Hi, Phil. The Lego guy fled, you wish. Yeah, he's already in Mexico, which I think is probably a crime in itself. The forging of a document. What? No, he hasn't forged a document, right? If you're talking about Reckless Ben, I don't believe anything he's done has been fake. Father has been following Reckless Ben for 5 years. Delighted to see him blow up. Some of his other stuff seems crazy as heck, because I only came across him with the Lego scandal. But all of the previous videos I was kind of scrolling through, not to watch, but just out of curiosity to see what he's done in the past. And I can see why he had a following already. I've spawned. Hello, Shadow. I think. I hope it's not too bad. He kicked up a lot of shit. Just should have been a little bit more chill. But that would go against his name, right? And so he wants to do things a little bit crazy, and do the legal loopholes. And in that regard, I think that it is kind of funny and more entertaining than being chill. So, because CoffeeZilla does a lot of investigations and all of that without putting himself on the line. And I think that's why this has gone so massive, is Reckless Ben is just out there being reckless, and it's very entertaining. It makes for great entertainment, in fact. And so, oh yes, yeah, go do your thing, Dylan. Thanks for stopping by, though. It was lovely having you here. See you later. Bye, 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 bye. But Reckless Ben, look, it is entertaining, but he already knows legal loopholes. If he is doing all of this stuff in a way that is crazy, that's his prerogative. And I'm not certain if there's the things that I would think that he would be called up for is actually doxing. I haven't seen anyone speak about it from everything I've been watching, but I would be concerned that that's something that they could get him on is the fact that he was showing these houses. I feel like a lot of YouTubers are not very sympathetic about doxing because that's a real threat that they face. So that's something that I found very surprising that he was happy to share. But anyway, that's not for me to figure out. I think that there will be a resolution, but it's just whether it will be a satisfying one. The Pickle Rick of the Counter Society. Anyway, feel free to go to work as well, Bobo. I like the new setup. Thank you. Your British accent makes any topic funny. Does it now? Alt rock underground vibes. Oh, that's better than comedy club, I suppose. Where are we? Yeah, a lack of meaning and purpose incites protesters. I don't want to say protesting. Protesting and rioting are two very different things. I think the lack of purpose can incite, not incite, but it's just misplaced energy. People don't know what to do, and so it makes them angry. You like everyone sweet on the outside, secret assassin when mad. I don't get mad. If I want to assassinate, I will do that with intent and purpose. Thank you very much. I am not like a child. I don't get emotionally irregulated and just simply lash out. It's cold and calculated. That's all. Don't get mad. Don't be silly. Don't be silly. But don't do things that, disappoint me. I want to visit Auckland again this time with my girlfriend, and there are any romantic places to visit New Zealand. The country itself is romantic. Auckland, though, I don't think Auckland is a very romantic place. Auckland is very... I don't like Auckland, so you're not talking to the right person in that regard. But New Zealand, go for a hike somewhere and boom, you're fine. He faked being a package delivery person to get a signature on a document. Yes, but that's what people do in the legal system anyway. That is very common practice, and I don't think that is something that's the whole you got served. Like, they literally make TV shows with the law serials that show this practice. So that's not something that I think they can get him on, because that's what lawyers do as well. Ubuntu. It's a saying here. It means I am because we are. That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Dylan. Now go get your son. There's attempted to get someone to sign someone, but that is, like I said, I'm pretty sure a common practice. No, if I'm incorrect on that, I'm willing to concede, but that is my understanding. The hiring two Bigfoot hunters at the same time is hilarious. You can be chill and kick shit up, just be smarter, especially with corrupt cops. But I think I saw him speak to a lawyer YouTuber, and in that interview, he spoke about how he is so used to the cops, like, listening to every single side. So I really do think that the corruption took him by surprise. I think you have a sore throat by now. No, we've got a long way to go before I have to worry about that. But that's the thing, is he didn't know that they were corrupt. And to be honest, the redacted footage, I don't think it looks good for the cops, but I think it looks better than what a lot of people were assuming. There's a lot of this corrupt cop terminology being thrown around. I am not one who thinks that they're corrupt. I think that they're negligent, and I think that they are backing one another up to hide that negligence, but I wouldn't necessarily call it corruption. I think that cops are people, and they're just trying to make decisions in the moment. Everything that, like, why would they not believe what liars were telling them? That is a very difficult thing to figure out in the moment. The cops did not have all the footage of Reckless Ben that we have seen. They have to make that decision in the moment, and they chose to follow a liar, and they chose to follow someone who looks like they're being harassed and stalked. And I think that that is an easy mistake to make. It is the redactions and the covering of that mistake that is gross. It is how they spoke about it that is gross. But I personally wouldn't go as far to call them corrupt. Fun fact, doxing isn't illegal. People just think it is because of TOS on YouTube and Twitch. Never mind then. Thank you very much for teaching me that, because I did not know. I know some guy who took a collection to a Bricks and minifigs for them to sell for him. Head office removed the franchise and then said, "What collection? Who is Reckless Ben and where does he fit in?" This is wait, I know some guy who took it. Wait, are you saying this separate to Reckless Ben? Ian, what are you talking about? I think I need confirmation from you. Unrest. Thank you, visibly upset. That is a good word. The cult put out the house address out uncensored when they showed the box of ducks in their whispered reply video. Okay, well, as Cactus John said, it's not illegal to dox, apparently. But it's not the public business. It was their home address that I was concerned about. You look too nice to be a killer. Well, it's always the ones you least expect. I'm planning to visit the Faroe Islands. That's exciting. My friend is planning to go as well. The Lego debacle was more confusing than a Tarantino flick. Yeah, but that's what makes it so juicy. I'm not a murderer. Don't you worry, Justin Ryan. I've not needed to murder yet.
I'm doing my part.
I'd assume the collection owner went to the newspapers himself. Ah, yes. So it was their son, basically. It's a whole thing. You just described corruption. Look, like I said, I'm willing to concede in a way, but I do think that it should the word corruption is a implication of what I don't think these cops were displaying. And so yes, it could be defining or describing corruption because of them hiding things, but corruption gives the implication of, say, taking bribes, and I want to be clear that I don't think they're corrupt in that regard. I think that they are corrupt in hiding their negligence. Yes, I could concede on that, but I don't think that they are. I don't think that they are doing a lot of the things that the word corrupt cop implies. For Auckland goes to Piha Beach. That's fair enough. I actually did forget my drink bottle downstairs, so I will have to get my drink bottle, but I do have my tea in the meantime. Hi from Northern California. Hi. Your AI correct. Who's this Reckless Ben guy? Sounds reckless. Yeah, he's done this big scandal. I'll catch up with things, and then I'll give a little FYI for those who don't know what they think. Doxing in America is illegal? Well, apparently it's not. The problem with cops protecting each other is that since they have more power than regular citizens, they should be held to a higher standard. And this I agree with for sure. What I know, there we go, thank you, Ian, is that some guy took a collection. And that's the crazy thing, just give it back. In the US, home addresses are protected information under the First Amendment. That is why we use to have them printed in phone books. Ah, that's a very good point. I forgot about the phone books. Who plays Reckless Ben in the remake? Do you know what? I'm not agreeing with this, but I know who would play it. Boba. I want to be very clear. I wouldn't be happy with this casting, but I know who the casting is. It's Timothée Chalamet, for sure. Like absolutely. If you think of if Hollywood, especially Hollywood right now, Reckless Ben would be played by Timothée Chalamet. They have the like the hollow cheek look, and I think Timothée Chalamet has shown that they do some of this kind of not erratic. Yeah, exactly right. That's what I mean, is I have this exact reaction. It's right, though. Like, he might be a little on the shorter side. Like, Reckless Ben has this beautiful, like, long features to his face. And so Timothée Chalamet doesn't have that. But he's got the look, close enough. He is a good actor. Otherwise, he wouldn't have had so many nominations for Oscars, even though you guys aren't always in favor of the Oscars. And I think he has some of that kind of tongue-in-cheek flair to his acting. So think of some of his, what's the table tennis role that he had recently. He's just kind of like this, thinks he's suave but isn't suave, but there's something endearing about it. It's its own kind of charm. It's not a charm that I am so much a fan of, but I know people do love him. So Timothy Chalamet would play Reckless Ben. It's rare that I feel like I get the casting right, but I know that that would be the right casting. Yes, I'm not AI, I'm a robot. Thank you very much for that one there. Depends more or less if you have the Fourth Amendment. Oh yeah, so American laws I'm not familiar with, so I can't weigh in. Official paper you have to comply exactly, and so if the law you have to work around it to make it work, then so be it. How much boom boom? 2, I guess. This is Ben's sister. Y'all are dumb. Hilarious. What part of New Zealand did you grow up in? Hamilton is the city that I am from. Look at her. Do you think that Ben and I look similar? I guess we've kind of got a similar hair color, although I think he's dyed his hair a couple times. I don't know. His hair color always changes, and I get confused. We do have the long facial features and the hollow cheeks. He has a very, like, striking nose. We don't have the same nose. But I think that we could pass as siblings for sure. Became corruption because they protect their job. Yes, I think that if they hadn't, okay, I've got it. This is why I don't feel like it's corruption. Oh, you are correct. It is about bribes. I mean, I don't like to gloat. But the thing is, impairing integrity, virtue, or moral principle. It doesn't have to be just about bribes. But this is why I don't look at it as corruption. Because if they had never redacted the footage, I don't think that there would be a lot of basis to show that they are corrupt. The redactions, which were not necessarily done by the cops on the ground, that is what is dodgy. The cops trying to assess the situation and follow instructions, I think you can argue negligence. I think the one cop who turned off their mic, that is irresponsible. And that one I could see as an argument of more dodgy. But the redactions are what are dodgy, and I cannot say that these tens of cops were like, oh, you've got to, like, sending their body cam footage, you got to make sure to redact it. That someone chose to redact it, and the people who are investigating it aren't necessarily the same ones trying to hide this information. So that's why I don't put it in the corruption element as well, because it just shouldn't have been redacted, and that's not always the cops who are, like I said, in the public's fault. You know about Henry Nowak, who's yes, yeah. So I do know about Henry Nowak, but we're not going to talk about Henry Nowak. Henry Nowak is a very, very upsetting situation. And it's not fun and light, and it's not that I am trying to sweep it under the rug either. It's just that that's not the type of content that I cover on my live stream. And so for those who do not know Henry Nowak, that'll give you all the information. He was killed by another guy, and it's just a very upsetting situation. And that is why I don't talk about this, because it is a lot heavier topic, and I prefer to have a more lighthearted feel when it comes to my live streams. So that is what I mean by I'm not trying to sweep it under the rug. It is just not what I cover. We are yapping about the Lego situation instead, just to answer that one. Your mouth moves very AI. Well, I don't know what to tell you about it. If my mouth moves like AI, then that shows how well AI has gotten. That's all I can say. Thanks, Goku. Move your camera. Okay, look, Vecna, if you're still here, you are still here. If you want me to move my camera, look. Is this better? Okay, this is the vibe now. I would rather call Saul than have this woman defend me in my lawsuit. She's attracted. Okay, yes, I'm not trying to claim that I know the law, Justin. And yes, I do like to talk. Well done. But no one here was trying to claim that I'm trying to be a lawyer. We're just having a discussion and sharing opinions about the situation that's going on. It looks cute. It looks very cozy. I think that on the horizontal, where it's a bit wider, it looks cuter than the vertical. The vertical is a jump scare. So this is the craziness. I feel insecure because my girlfriend comes from a rich family and I think I may not be able to provide for her. Well, that's something that only you can work on. I don't know what advice you would like me to give. But I would like to, however, remind you that I prefer people when they are contributing to the live stream to try and stay on topic. I've already talked about the fact that you bring, like, you've said enough things where you're like, hey, I want to bring my girlfriend to New Zealand. That was on topic. You mentioning about like this providing for your girlfriend when we're talking about Lego, that is not on topic. So please try to contribute to what the class is saying, because that shows that you are wanting to engage with one another rather than trying to make it about yourself. And, you know, if you want to talk about yourself, consider live streaming, you know? That way you can choose what the topic is about. If you want to talk about your girlfriend, if you want advice on this, you know, consider live streaming. Then you might have the opportunity to share that yourself. Bish, lay off the wine. Okay. I haven't had any wine in several weeks, but nonetheless. Charlemagne is good in Dune, otherwise not so much. Yeah, I haven't really seen things that he's in, funnily enough, but he would play Reckless Ben. I do know this. I bet Tilda Swinton could play him. Yes, actually, she's got the features for it for sure. Highlights poor training. Yes, this I agree with as well. The cops basically showed a level of favoritism, which is where everything stems from. And yes, I can agree with this as well. And in that sense, poor training, negligence, favoritism, those are all things that are bad, but I don't think corrupt. Maybe the redacted parts are when they forgot to turn off their cams while using the toilet. It is not the case whatsoever. The guy from The Bear might be a cool choice. Ooh! Yeah, and then we wouldn't get Timothy Chalamet. That would be nice. Yeah. I like it. I'm well, Georgie. I hope you're well as well. Oh, sorry, Justin. Yeah, I am very behind, but I think that I have caught up now. Beat up their dad. I swear people don't have a clue about hijacking on stream. Exactly, that's the thing. It's anyway. I want to bring myself in New Zealand. Well, I hope you get the opportunity because New Zealand is beautiful. Sort of glanced in the other day about the vernacular we were deciding for the viewers because chat is so drab. Poor chat. You know, it's just such like a hijacked word in itself, I guess. Chat. What do you think? Chat. So we've started saying class over here, but it hasn't fully caught on. I think mainly because for me I have to learn how to use it properly. But anyway, what does the class think? What is the topic anyway? So this is what I mean, Daniel, is we've been speaking for like 20 minutes about Lego and you have been here for 20 minutes. And if you have to ask what is the topic, that shows that you are not listening. And so Zyphon, in that case, that is why I don't consider it silencing. Because I have, so does me expressing what I would like to see going on silencing? Like, I think I've done a pretty good job at saying, hey, this is how I feel. Why are you calling that silencing? Silencing is what we have done to you where you have been timed out. That is silencing. Whereas this individual is is not being silenced. It is called discussion. It is called being able to say, hey, this is how I feel. Please respect that. But you had to bring up discrimination. Like, that is why you are getting silenced. Because you have said something that is nasty about a certain group of people. So that is the situation going on. Whereas Daniel, see, Daniel is even able to acknowledge that they have a habit of going off topic. And that is why Daniel doesn't get silenced. That's why Daniel doesn't get banned. That's why Daniel doesn't get timed out. That is why I am able to say, hey, just a reminder, we would like to be inclusive rather than it being spoken about one thing. But anyways, Zyphon just wants to go off on their own thing. Nine Fox, I actually am happy to ban this person rather than just time them out because I think that the word that they said is like the sentence that they said is enough, in my opinion, to warrant a ban. Because why are you now? For those who want to know, they said silencing people is due behavior. That is just, in my opinion, it's not worth our time having someone who has that kind of speech about another group. Like, we don't need them to come back. I thought we were going to be called cuties. Well, what do you cuties think? I mean, if you guys want me to say cuties, I'll say cuties, but we've kind of landed on class, where it's like, okay, well, let's bring this to the class. But we're figuring it out. You want to get engaged? I don't even know, you're moving a little too fast. My apologies. You're right. That is on me. That is on me. I was being presumptuous. I prefer your suggestion as well, Nine Fox. I'm not sure if it will fly, though. New Zealand must have had a great education system. I've always enjoyed that they have intelligent conversations. I am very surprised at the level of education that New Zealand provides as well for such a tiny little country. I think it's very impressive. Oh, thank you, Boba. I do appreciate the compliment on the short form content, but it's just from the long form content, so I'm very pleased I've been able to do it. This isn't where I parked my car. Are you sure about that? You're correct. It's not where you parked your car. As we say in Yorkshire, we'll get back to Lego in a second. As we say in Yorkshire, that's class. That's cute. Oh, that's got a double meaning then. Oh, hell yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Had to head out. No stress Thursday. We'll see you next time. Do you want to come to California? I've been to California. I'm silencing right now. Can you hear me? That's what I thought. Hi, Joe. What's the team thing? Yeah, I like team, gang. Anyhow, damn, Daniel. I just feel you're super awesome, outgoing, and you need to explore. Thank you. I don't know what you mean by I need to explore. I literally moved countries so that I can travel, but nonetheless. You're beautiful and you are my type. Well, that doesn't mean you are my type, but, you know, I appreciate the compliment, I guess. Sorry, Omar. Yes. Sorry. I love Lego. Would you like to build Hogwarts or the USS Enterprise with me? Yes. But only, and then maybe I will win your favor, and then you will accept my marriage proposal. Yeah, racism, anti-Semitism. We're happy to just kick them out. I only hate the right types of people. Oh, you gotta be careful with that one, Nate. But yes, W, Jews, and all other races, exactly. Okay. Guys spreading anti-Semitic conspiracies not cool. Yes, exactly. And then you being Jewish as well. And that's the thing, is that okay, I will get back on topic. But that's the thing, Daniel, is this person is like, don't silence them. Let them talk about their girlfriend while simultaneously then completely being anti-Semitic to you yourself. It's just I don't understand. Nonetheless, thank you, Todd. I hope you have a wonderful day yourself. We wouldn't have kiwi fruit without New Zealand. I personally love the For the Clempire reward option and would love to be called a member of the Clempire. Well, you already are, just simply by being here. Thank you so much, Aurelio. I'd love to meet you via chat or FaceTime. That's not something I do. You can just chat here on the live stream. Thank you, Boba. Yes, I would love to come back to Canada. I've been to Canada, mainly on the west side, but I'd love to go back to Canada for sure. I wish you used my surname. That's cheeky. That's cheeky. Pope Clementine, indeed. It's me. Another Yorkshire joke. Twerk is not a dance move. It's where a Yorkshire man goes 5 days a week from 9 to 5. Oh my gosh, have a great day. That's class. Yes, so kiwi fruit is originally from China. It's called a Chinese gooseberry. However, the kiwi, as in the New Zealanders, the entrepreneurs managed to market it and brand it as a kiwi fruit so that countries all over the world would import from New Zealand instead of China. And in that case, they did a very good job. Hello, Crystal. A degree in aviation. That's very cool. Blaming people for the actions of governments tends to get us into bad spots. Yeah, you got it, Nate. You got it. Yeah, Clement Thanos. I like it. Do you like crystals as in rocks of nature? Yes, I don't have any, but I think they're very pretty. I'm from New Zealand in answer to that one. Would you like to go to Israel one day? It's not like what they show in media. I mean, I actually would be very interested in going to Israel, but not anytime soon. Similar to a lot of countries that are in a lot of strife, it would be I know that there are areas that are unaffected by wars, but it just gives me a little bit of pause and nervous. But yeah, I would absolutely be interested in visiting Israel one day. I think it would be very cool, but it's lower on my list. I'm exploring Europe in the meantime. Calling us gang makes me think of Greece, the show, not the country. I like it. Okay. I'm not ashamed to say W capitalism anymore. I know there are a lot of people who are going down that rhetoric as well. I feel like there are... I don't have much opinion on that, but I'm not going to fight back. Nate is my point. I like gooseberry. Never had a gooseberry. I love kiwi. It's my favorite. I didn't know that. Yeah, a bit of a marketing ploy. They named it after the kiwi bird. Coming Canada when it's summer, not winter. Yeah, that's when I went last time. The Jimmy Carr one I love is in Tintin, which means it isn't in the tin, in it in tin. In it in tin. It isn't in the tin. Oh my gosh, that's ridiculous. Yeah, it's good vibes. I know a lot of people like the crystals for sure. Okay. Now. Oh, thank you, Robert. Now that I'm caught up, we can get back on topic. So let me give you guys a little rundown on the Lego situation, because that's what we were talking about, but it was meant to be succinct, and then it kept on going. I should know by now, nothing is succinct around here. So I will give you a little FYI. There's a YouTuber called Reckless Ben, who has done YouTube for many years now, and they do a lot of cult infiltrations. They created an official religion called Scientology, sucks, and a lot of their stuff is, well, as the name implies, quite reckless. But it's intriguing, and I think it's done in quite a... I'm not sure what the word I'm looking for is, but in a very... reckless manner, which makes it very entertaining because of this juxtaposition of following legal loopholes and this it's like the fine line between madness and genius, where they've put so much effort into doing everything legally and correctly while also being super crazy. And I guess it's like they have no sense of self-preservation, which again makes it very entertaining because they just go and do it. They just go into the cult and they infiltrate it. But there was an interview that they did recently that helped me learn this information. Is they were looking for their kind of next project, and they wanted something more family friendly. And so, because a lot of the stuff that they've done, especially with cults, there are a lot of harm that goes on, a lot of abuse, and so they wanted something more family friendly. So they kind of did a call to action to see if there was anyone who had some injustices that the legal system was not aiding them with, and maybe they could help out. And so that is how he got connected with a guy called Brian Mansell. And Brian Mansell had already spoken to different YouTubers to try and help him out with his situation. His father had a massive Star Wars Lego collection, and his father, unfortunately, was going through some health issues, and so they decided that they would sell the collection. And so Brian took this massive collection to a company called Bricks and Minifigs, and the idea was that they would sell this collection on their behalf. So they took the inventory, and with the sales, they're meant to give them. They keep a little cut, like a sales tax. They keep a cut for themselves, but ultimately, the money's supposed to be going to Brian and his family to help with his father's situation. However, the owner of this franchise, of this particular shop, her and her husband decided that they want to move overseas. So they let corporate know, and then corporate let them know that they have a buyer interested. And then it suddenly became this incredibly quick turnaround. She was kicked out sooner than she was ready, she was told that they would take over the consignment of any of the contracts that they had done, so including this Lego collection. And then as those new owners took over, now all of a sudden the communication with Brian non-existent, essentially. And so he wasn't getting his Lego back. He wasn't getting a cut from the selling of it. They are using a lot of the collection for promo material on their socials, and Brian is not allowed access to that. Then he got trespassed, and he was being told that he was harassing the store. And I am absolutely certain that there's a whole bunch of stuff there that we will never get information for, because people didn't think to record it. They don't have the video evidence or recordings of phone calls. So there's probably a whole bunch of crap that happened before the YouTubers got involved. That is a big deal. But regardless, Brian wanted his collection back, and he's not getting it back. And so that's why he's reached out to YouTuber. And I can't remember. Thank you, Cobra. I can't remember why the legal system wasn't working. There was an answer, but it's just I don't know what it is. And so Reckless Ben has all of the things if you want to watch the whole story. It actually, you watch the first video and you're like, this is not real. This can't be real. It's so bizarre that it's really hard to accept that it's reality. But it is, and it's just wild. So Reckless Ben gets involved because he thinks this is a family, he's looking for his next project, but it's family friendly. It's Lego. Everyone loves Lego, and he wanted it to basically go viral. And viral it did go. So the video basically shows him trying to get the set back. He's recording all of the collection back. He's recording all of the conversations. The cops start getting involved, and it becomes this whole thing, and it's crazy and so worth a watch. I'm not a big fan of the editing style, but I'm still lapping it up, I tell you what. And I thought it was going to have this like neat little bow that was going to come from it, but it's ongoing. The investigation is ongoing. They still haven't got the collection back. The CEO is now trying to do PR where they're going on live streams and talking to content creators to try and restore the integrity of Bricks and Minifigs, but even they themselves have been seen to be a little bit odd. If you guys have been following it's really interesting. Reckless Ben. Once you watch all of that, if you guys are super keen for more and feel like you're lacking for that information, it was, oh my gosh, who's the lawyer? Their name has is it Legal Mindset? Let me have a look. Because sometimes I get some of the law YouTubers mixed up. Legal Eagle, yes, there we go. No, it is Legal Mindset. Oh, I don't think I've seen the Legal Eagle one. Legal Mindset is the one I was thinking of, and they spoke with the CEO, and that's a really good video, in my opinion, to watch if you're waiting for part 3, because he speaks to the CEO and he talks about the language that the CEO is using. And so, yeah, I really, really recommend that one because it shows how calculated and particular the CEO's language is. And so, for example, he says how and I guess this is just years of experience of being a lawyer. He can sniff it from a mile away. Yeah, brick by brick. He says how they requested documentation from Brian Mansell, and Legal Mindset's like, okay, but when was this? How long ago was it? What documentation are they asking for? Shouldn't that be on Bricks and Mini? And it's just really, it's a really good video that shows that although the CEO is trying to do this PR stuff, they've got slimy language. The CEO didn't step down, but as far as I'm aware, but they have fired the franchise owners. So Josh and the other guy, whose name is escaping me. But it is. And the GoFundMe. So they've have a GoFundMe to try and help with Brian Mansell. So I also heard, maybe Legal Eagle is who Ben spoke with, because I know that there was a big conversation that, yeah, I think Legal Eagle is who Ben spoke with. Maybe. Oh, no. Legal Eagle just has their own video. I haven't seen that one, admittedly. But there's a lawyer that Ben spoke with, like an interview, and that gives a lot of insight too. Anyway, it's just crazy. It's actually so crazy. And I think that part of the reason it's so crazy is because of the approach that Ben has taken. But at the same time, I feel like it does a good job of exposing how ridiculous some of the legal process is. And so although he has been quite inflammatory, perhaps is a word I was looking at using earlier, that was escaping me. So although he's been quite inflammatory, I do feel like it is still doing a good job of exposing some of the how the injustices of not only these people who are just not giving the collection back, but also the legal system. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Anyhow, just a bad guy indeed. Okay, I just wanted to read some of these other ones. Absurdus. Yeah, he's definitely on Absurdus. Empathy and imagination can help you figure things out without trying them. I've never been bitten by a great white shark, but I'm pretty sure I wouldn't enjoy. That's a good point, Skeletor. You'd have to convert to Jediism. Oh no, I'd hate that. But I would be happy to brush up on my lightsaber skills for sure. Hi, Episor. Nice to see you as well. Almost 6 a.m. Hope you're having a good evening. Thank you so much. Yeah, get some rest if you need some rest. The new franchise owner is like, I didn't sign any contract about this. Exactly. You take over the obligations. And that's the thing is, even if the new franchise owner didn't want to sell the collection, why are they not giving the collection back? They can't just sell items that are not theirs. So there are a lot of people who make some really, really simple analogies. As an example, if you lend someone your car and they never bring it back to you, they've stolen your car. Like, if they sell your car, they have stolen your car. There's no, like, it's just as simple as that. That if they do not give you back your car, they have stolen it. There is no rights that your friend has to sell your car if you have just lent them your car. So why are they not giving the sets back? And the why is where the CEO is trying to give some information of like, oh, well, we asked for like a documentation. Okay, what do they mean by that? It's very vague language. There should have been some inventory that was done by the previous franchise owner or the franchise owners that got fired. And so it's like they just didn't do inventory, and that is why they feel like they are entitled to the collection, because they are just calling it their inventory rather than having that separate. And so I could understand some complexities in the changeover of not being certain of whose is whose. But that is where the negligence comes in. And that is where I think the lies start coming in, because they're like, well, this, like, we had nothing to do with this. You had everything to do with it. If you are taking over a franchise, why are you not doing inventory? Why are you not checking what's what? And so that's where it makes me mad. Exactly, Schmick. Where is the bricks and minifigs documentation? Where's the inventory? Why is it Brian Mansell who has to give them? And then, especially when they are not allowing phone calls from Brian Mansell, when they are blocking his calls, then they weren't trying to resolve it. It's ridiculous. Jedi are opposed to dissolving shellfish in acid. Only the Sith deal like crab salutes. That's ridiculous. The cost was about $75,000 for a lawyer to take on the case. That is insane. So what I have heard is that Ben's GoFundMe, and this is in one of the interviews that he did, is he's probably going to, the GoFundMe, he'll give, let's say, the $200,000 to Brian. And that is now, that's sorted. And then anything more than that will go towards legal fees. That is my understanding. They're trying to drag out the lawsuit, and now they actually are trying to get into it, and they got all scared. It's just always just this, what's it called? Bluffing. I wonder what the aftermath of this whole situation is going to be. Hey, fun etymology question after I've teed up. Where do you think the word aftermath comes from? After. So you do the math, and then you see what's afterwards. No, there's got to be. I feel like the word math is not like mathematics. So I do not know, Boba. Is the CEO trying to pretend that they're not in the wrong while firing the managers that went through with the theft? Or am I? No, that feels about right, Aurelio. That feels about right. How absurd the legal system is. Yes, that's a good one, a way of phrasing it. One cannot help but be unnerved by the volatility of the outside world. It's just crazy out there. I'm too lazy to get up to be what I do. You can do it. I believe in you, soul. You can do it. I know which side I would take, but they say possession is 9/10 of the law. God damn it. That is not applicable in this case. Before you started talking about the Lego theft earlier, I thought you were talking about the time someone stole $320,000 worth of Lego in Australia. They found it in someone's house in the suburbs. Lego drama back to back this year. That is insane. I never heard about that one. Okay, so the word aftermath comes from Old English and originally referred to a second crop of grass that grew on a pasture after the first crop had been harvested. It is a compound of the prefix after and the root word math, which meant a mowing. Yeah, so not mathematics. It was a consignment sale. It is a common practice. It makes sense for the store to hold the items to sell them. Exactly. So if they don't want to take over the consignment, then give the inventory back. It feels pretty cut and dry. Like it's and so why is there so much pushback on not giving the inventory back unless they don't have their own documentation of the inventory? And so they don't know what's the stores and what's the collection. And that I would absolutely believe in a heartbeat. But they are not being honest. They're not just going, okay, well, here's the truth. It's just this constant pushback. The recordings of, well, let's take it to court, so sue me, like, we'll drag this out, et cetera, et cetera. And it is so gross that, again, it's this, the abuse of power, right? The abuse of power in this situation being a company and money over the little guy. It's just ridiculous. Tone it down. You've got the energy of a stadium and the views of a bloody phone box. I don't know what you mean by the latter, but what's wrong with me being energetic? I think that I guess with unlifted, that shows that you're not used to being lifted up. But I think that we're well in our right to be energetic. You need to zoom in on your face a little bit. Let us appreciate God's creation. Well, I did have it zoomed in all the way before, so we can do that again if you'd prefer. There we go. Is that better? Yeah, go for the look, Boba. Maybe you asked the wrong person, or maybe your skill were not great enough to handle it. Okay, so the inventory is a mess, and we can't be sure of what's what. Would be kind of fair enough. Yeah, exactly upset. So that's not close enough. The only way to get closer is if I lean in, but I'm not gonna lean in because I'm quite comfortable back here. Exactly, David. Exactly. But that's what they say about corporate speak and legal speak. As soon as they admit wrongdoing, then that gives the grounds for everything to just everything to fall apart. And I think that's where the dishonesty is coming in place, is because if like I said, if they admit wrongdoing, then that's basically what the lawyers and legal teams always say is don't admit fault, because if you apologize, then they can sue you for blah 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 blah. And that's where my assumption is coming from of why they're doubling down. But at this point, I think they do have to just, like you say, they just say, okay, it's they keep on trying to blame the previous franchise owner as well. They're like, oh well, they like we took over the store and it was in a complete disarray. It's like, okay, just because it's in a disarray doesn't mean that you have this drag out for however many months and not give this guy his collection back. That's what's insane about it. And so if they are now selling items that they are uncertain of if it's theirs or not, that's where it's ridiculous. They should have had that separate. So here's my assumption. I think that they were like, yeah, we'll take over the consignments, we'll take over whatever that you had from your previous setup, and then they didn't do the due diligence to separate this collection from their inventory, so they just sold it as is, and that is why they are unable to just give the sets back, because there would have been sets that have been sold that they haven't kept track of and that they haven't given Brian a cut of, and they don't know what it is because they don't have the documentation to show whose was whose. And so they're just like, no. And then, but then the dishonesty of, yeah, we have your sets, we'll give them back. And then they don't give them back. It's, why are they just constantly lying? Why are they always lying? It does feel like a montage from the beginning of the movie where it's, oh, hold on. Why are you filming? No, stop. Oh my God. It's always such a cringe little montage. I guess I will lean into my screen. There we go. Yes, that's how it works for sure. Dragging out a lawsuit to force an opponent to drop the case due to mounting legal costs is known as a war of attrition. Okay, or abusive litigation. Gugh, gross. Back up. Okay, we're backing it up. That's what I said, Blaziken. I was like, also, love the name. I said this is going to be such a jump scare to anyone who comes across the channel, but I was told to bring it closer, so I brought it closer, but now we will bring it back. I hate that so much. Why can't the right move be to apologize even if it's not your fault? Isn't that disgusting? And that's the thing, is I completely understand that there have been cases where it's like, oh, well, if you admit that you, like, if you apologize for, sorry, let me get my thoughts together. My understanding, at least in the American system, it might be different in other countries, but from what I've seen on TV shows is, say you're driving a car and you hit a pedestrian. If you say sorry, or anything like that, that is enough grounds for them to sue you, because you have admitted, well, I mean, they could sue you anyway, you've hit them. But some of the advice is don't apologize, because then you have admitted fault, Whereas if you don't apologize, then it could be on the pedestrian and their fault for maybe stepping out into traffic when they shouldn't have. And so then that's where you can argue who was at fault. And usually everyone's at fault, but that's not how it works. It's usually us versus them. So that is why the advice often is, at least my understanding is why the advice is to not apologize, because like I said, that now gives the grounds of, well, I was the one in the wrong. And so that's what I think is going on with the Bricks and Minifigs, is that they can't admit the wrongdoing, because then they concede their entire case, essentially. That is my understanding. If they are prepared to lose eventually, they can liquidate before claiming bankruptcy and literally walk away from it. The benefit of it being a corporation than just an individual. Blech, gross. They'll make a movie with it. Well, I already feel like I'm watching a whole TV series. Hi, Driver. Hi, Fit. Except in Canadian... also, Oaken, thank you for lurking. Except in Canadian law, there's actually a bylaw Canada law that ignores this as a response. Well, I think that's because the Canadians say sorry for everything. Hi, Pyro. You can also sue someone for suing you frivolously. Well, I feel like that is fair enough. If someone were to sue me for, I don't know, slipping over in the shower because they were watching my live stream, I feel like it would be good to be able to be like, no, that's stupid. I'm going to sue you for being stupid. Every state is different as well. That's a good point. Some have proportional responsibility. Some have total 100% responsibility. Understood. Okay, thank you for that insight as well. Hi, hello. Canadian law mandates apologizing for everyone, even if you're nowhere involved. Exactly, because it's Canada. It's just a part of it. The driver should say, what are you, an idiot? Exactly. That is the advice, because then it puts the onus on the pedestrian rather than the driver, and then you not at fault or admitting fault. Yeah, the reason I see the whole world as too small. Everywhere I look on the map, it bores me. It feels like the world is too small and flat Earth has always been the wall. I don't know how that is connected, but okay. If Canada ever takes over the world, we'll all be sorry. Exactly. That's such a funny way of putting it. We'll all be sorry. Anyway, that's a little FYI on the Lego situation. It has been, I think the thing for me is, yes, I am lapping it up, and I've been loving the updates, and I've been checking the updates. This morning I woke up a little bit later than I would have liked to. Actually, I didn't wake up late. I woke up and then I put my snooze on, and then it turns out I didn't put the snooze. I had just turned off the alarm, so there was no second alarm that came on, which is why you should get up at your first alarm. And so I was so, like, I woke up and I was like, I really, really want to see if there are any Lego updates, but I need to get onto stream. I've already had enough days off. If I see there's a Lego update, I'm going to cancel stream and I'm just going to be watching the Lego. Hey, in British Columbia, nice. So now that I'm here, I suppose it would be on topic to see if there are any updates. So YouTube. I wonder if they'll be just on the main. Oh no, I can't do it on this one. So I have I have kind of the YouTube that I use for reacts where we can watch stuff together, and then I have my personal YouTube where I can see if there's anything interesting. Good news in the Reckless Ben situation, because you can see I don't have like I recommendations. So how will I know what the updates are? Yes, I really want to go to the east coast of Canada, because I feel like with a higher French influence, it would be quite a different culture. So I'm super, super keen to know what's happening. What learning about this Lego scandal feels like? What is this? Oh my gosh, everyone's talking about it. What Reckless Ben said in the police car interrogation. Like, everyone's talking about it. Mormon response to Lego scandal. There's just so much about the Lego and so many channels that I've never even seen before They are popping up. Oh, the civil rights lawyer. That's the person who Reckless Ben spoke with. The civil rights lawyer, which I guess makes sense if it's a civil case. Oh, I haven't watched this. This came up when I wouldn't have been asleep, but I was watching the season 3 finale of Euphoria last night. So I watched this one here. This is the one I was talking about where Reckless Ben speaks a lot about his situation, and it's very insightful. And that's where he mentions how he got into this. I haven't seen this one. This is only 13 hours ago. And that, oh no, there was an update. It's basically Lego Scandal and Streamer's Feet is what my personal YouTube looks like. I know exactly what I'm going to be watching after stream today. Winter in Southern Hemisphere is almost starting. I wish if I could live in the South Pole, nobody bugs my inability to be capable enough to just at least make a settlement. I feel like you might not enjoy the South Pole as much as you think you might. I tell you, Lego Saga as you think it's bigger than the Iran War? Well, let me put it this way. It has more coverage, but the stuff going, we don't want to dismiss everything that's going on in the Iran war. Like that's where lives are literally at stake. Civil rights law and civil law, two pretty separate legal notions. I don't know why. So if you want to explain that, Bobby, because civil rights versus civil law, I guess, because I know that in the Lego situation, they're talking about civil dispute versus a criminal dispute. And so those are terms that I've only recently become familiar with. But yeah, I guess it would be a difference between what are your rights as a civilian versus what is a civil case versus what is a criminal case. This is why lawyers exist. It's so confusing. Oh yes, 100% people are jumping on the bandwagon, and I don't dismiss it. This guy in particular, I wouldn't say it's necessarily jumping on the bandwagon because they are the lawyer that Ben themselves have decided to speak with, and they could have chosen one of the many other lawyers on YouTube. And so I'm not sure how they got in contact with a civil rights lawyer, but I mean, fair enough. There are so many people who are jumping on the bandwagon, and it's because it is a fun, crazy, entertaining situation. How did you guys hear about it? If for me, I heard about it from Moist Critical, Penguin Z0, whatever you want to call him, Charlie. That's how I first came across it, because he made like 3 videos on it over the course of 3 days, and I was like, what the hell is happening? And so then I went to the source, and that's where I've been trying to ignore a lot of the other of just watching everyone who does a video on the Lego Scandal. CoffeeZilla, I'd watch theirs because it's CoffeeZilla, and the fact that they are getting in on the investigation with a track, Charles White, exactly, a track record of investigative journalism. That's why I was curious to see how they got involved. But I've been trying to just pay attention to the where Ben themselves is turning up rather than the rabbit hole that could ensue. Though I do like Legal Mindset, which is why I watched that one. Any non-criminal case is civil, i.e. you can sue for money. Yeah, so this Lego thing is supposed to be a civil case, and Reckless Ben was trying to turn it into a criminal case. It's currently civil. Yeah, and so that's my understanding. Is Ben has been trying to turn it into a criminal case, because theft is criminal, but like there's a dispute that they have a civil, but then they're not allowing Brian Mansell to talk. Anyway, it'll be interesting to see where it goes now that the franchise owners, why do I keep on trying to say cheesies? Is there a word where that's where the word changes? Franchisees. Maybe that's all I'm trying to say. Franchisees, and I keep on skipping the franchisee. So the franchise. Franchisee. An independent individual company that purchased the rights to use and establish. Yeah, so the franchisees, I think that's why I keep on saying franchise. The franchisees are now fired. The owners of the franchisee. That sounds right. Okay, I finally got there. But there's the franchises. It is a franchise, and there are multiple franchises, but we're speaking about the people who own a particular franchisee. I think that's the one? Yeah, France! Civil law is sued by a person. Criminal law, it'd be government taking you to court. Yes, but if someone robs your house... is that where the government would get involved as well? Or like a murder case? I don't know law well enough, so it's not a rhetoric. It's actually a rhetorical. It's actually a question. Civil rights can be adjudicated in either the criminal or civil systems. Oh, okay. Bobby might have my answer. So the civil rights, they can be in the criminal or civil systems, and that's where the legal situations differ. This is a civil situation or system, and this is using the criminal situation, but involve a person's rights as defined by the government. Best kids are from Iran. I don't know what that's implying, and I don't know if I should ask. The police made it a criminal matter by arresting them. Yes, that's how I feel about the situation as well. Haven't seen anything about this Lego situation because it's Lego, so it's probably nothing important. Well, the thing is, well, surely if you know Charles White, or maybe you don't watch this stuff, you just know of Charlie. But they've done some videos about it. The short notes are that a guy wanted to go viral and he's achieved it. And it was because there's a franchisee who took a collection and won't give it back. And so it's just, it feels like a very cut and dry case, and somehow it just has spiraled, and the franchise has doubled down, and it just is ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I've seen so many cases in which CEOs do not admit guilt and make it seem like they've done nothing wrong. Yes, and that seems to be what is happening again in this one as well. While firing the people involved in the wrongdoing, exactly. At this point, firing the people who are involved in the issue should be considered an admission of guilt, and so therefore they should have the grounds to take them to court. Not in every case, but a lot of them. No, I can understand the anecdotal evidence there. So a person who owns a franchise. Yes, but the person who owns a franchise is a franchisee, right? That is a general question, a genuine question. Yes, there we go. Visibly upset says a franchisee owns a franchise, and Bricks and Minifigs are a franchisor, and so the CEO is the not a franchisee. But the guys who got fired were franchisees. They owned the franchisee, not the franchise. This is why I'm finding it difficult, because it is... I think I'm trying to find the word... France Chinese, a French Chinese. The owners of a franchisee, what would they be called? That, I think, is where my vocab is lacking. Because there's a franchise like McDonald's, and then an individual location would be a franchisee. But the person who is running that McDonald's, or in this case, a Bricks and Minifigs, they are the owner of the franchisee, but they are not the owner of the franchise, because that would imply that they own Bricks and Minifigs. So a franchisee is a person, not a location. A person who owns one of the franchises is a franchisee. Okay, so the building, the shop, is not a franchisee. It is the owner of a franchise that is not. Okay, I need to get this franchise names. Let's see. This is not what I want. I think I was more sure of this before the franchise. Just so, yes, that's the thing is, I don't know if I saw anything about Josh saying, oh, that's right. He said he's gonna shoot someone. So that I think is grounds for something. I don't know what though. If there's an aggrieved party, it's just civil. Yeah, and so now that's what they were trying to change. How not see no wrong? Like, yeah, I don't know what the correlation is there. Sorry, Akans. It's important because a company has stolen possibly hundreds of thousands. Sorry, I'll put this on again. There we go. And visibly upset, her said, it's important because a company has stolen possibly hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of someone's property and gone, nah, it's ours. What the property is kind of doesn't matter on the wide. I like this take, yeah. Imagine a car dealership taking in a car for service and selling that car to someone else because it was on our lot, so it's ours. That's a great analogy. So you take your car in I think you'd have to use the same kind of wording. So you have a dealer who will take your car and sell it on your behalf. But then that dealer changes ownership, and then they have your car and they won't give it back, or they just say, well, that's the previous owner's fault, and so we're not going to give you any money and we're not going to give you your car back. That's just ridiculous. Even if it's just the one car, they either have to sell that car on your behalf or they just give your car back. And so I think that's what's so hard to grasp, is that it's Lego, and that's what also makes it so bizarre. But yeah, I think that you raise a very good point, is that how do I want to phrase this? We don't want to set a precedent that this is okay. That's all there is to it. Iranian Lego video? So you know about this? Building owner is just the landlord. Yeah, but that's a different one again. Owners of a franchise are the franchisee. A franchise is an independent business that licenses the IP of the umbrella company. So the CEO of Bricks and Minifigs. So Bricks and Minifigs is a franchise, and if you have a Bricks and Minifigs store, that is still a franchise, and you are the franchisee because you own the franchise. I think that's where my language feels weird, because owning the franchise to me feels like you own the entirety of Bricks and Minifigs rather than just your one store. It's stupidly complex. It's just ridiculous. What did I miss? We're still talking about Lego. A franchise is the single shop in a chain. And so then the company is the collection of the franchises. This is why I hate English as well, but I want to know, what will happen if they give the Lego back? Will court case be over? And that is a great question, is why aren't they giving it back? Will it just be put to bed? I don't know. As a better example, you could say auctioneer. They sell the car and say it wasn't yours because we sold it on our lot. Cringe. With a car, if you have the title of the car, it's your car. And so maybe that's where they're being disingenuous, because because it's Lego, they don't necessarily have the title deed. You don't want to normalize or trivialize because it's only Lego, exactly. And so a case like this can be good to set a precedent for the future as well. Bricks and Minifigs is a company, and then the single shops are franchises. So McDonald's is a company, and then the single shops are franchises. And then you can be a franchisor if you are Bricks and Minifigs or McDonald's. And that is how you can give out the name and the IP. And then you are franchisee if you own a franchise. But the owning of the franchise is about a particular shop, not a franchised company. English. The individual store is the franchise, and then the company is Bricks and Minifigs or McDonald's. You license the franchise rights. Okay. McDonald's historically aren't a food company, they're a real estate company. Oh yes, I saw this from what was the movie with Michael Keaton in it? The Founder. In the US, at least, franchisees lease the property. The restaurant is on the McDonald's corporate. All the food and branding and collective advertising is all in service of keeping the rental income. Okay, so maybe McDonald's is not a good example in that case. Yes, that's the one, Francis. They wouldn't be called an owner. I don't think they would be called a general manager. No, because that's the language that they're using in the Bricks and Minifigs situation, is they're saying the owner of the franchise. So there we go. The franchisee is the owner of the franchise. The overall company would be the franchisor. Yes, there we go. Okay, all right, we're getting it. Yay! Okay, thank you. Reckless Ben did some illegal things like taking a sign without telling agreement and went to the top of the building. Will it, yeah, I'm sure that it will be held against him, but that is something that he is willing to put himself on the line for, and at least he is in a career where a criminal record doesn't necessarily harm his chances of making money. Gotcha, thanks, Sakans. I feel like this French, not English, tripping us up is here. Exactly. I heard that franchises are on the hook for the... Oh, yeah, so that's another thing. Hello. Okay, so to make everyone clear on the situation, a company that ends up franchising their company are now franchisors. And so if you are a part of the if you now want to be a part of the company, you become a franchisee and you own your franchise from the franchisors after the company was franchised. I actually, like, it sounds ridiculous, but I do know what, I do hear it now. Thank you guys for getting me there, because I didn't even know how to look that up. I think that would be probably an AI question. I don't use AI for a lot of things, but sometimes when I'm like, I don't know how to Google this, I think that would be one where I would say, like, what's the difference between this, and this, and this, and this on AI? That feels like a, that's one. I run like, okay, fine. You have convinced me. I'm looking it up. If this is a gotcha, I'm gonna be, mad. Iran's AI Lego propaganda? What the heck? Iran war. We spoke to the man making Lego-style AI videos. Sorry, what? Okay. At first glance, they look like they could be scenes out of a Lego movie. These viral AI videos, inspired by Lego, they're pro-Iran propaganda? What in the heck? That is hilarious. How has this happened? I feel like it is probably just on the cusp of, well, it is political, right? And unfortunately so. I think that stuff like this where it's something that I have to find where my line is in terms of speaking about it or not, because unfortunately when various topics get brought up, it goes political, and I would love to bring up certain topics as a way of discussing news or current events without it necessarily devolving into not even politics, but into people fighting. Let's just call a spade a spade. I don't have so many issues of bringing up certain topics, but what I don't want to happen and why I don't talk about certain topics is because I don't have the ability to facilitate a debate or in topics that make people very heated. Whereas I think that we've done some debates and differing opinions in the past of lighthearted topics, but unfortunately politics does make us very mad and heated, and I understand that because I get mad and I get heated, and that's why I try and stay away from topics, not because of the topic themselves, but because I don't want to put the mods through a whole bunch of effort of what ends up devolving into name calling instead of actual discussion. So this is on the cusp where I feel like I would be interested in watching it, but I will choose not to, because I think that when people are coming in with a snapshot of what's happening, then that will turn into it'll turn into something that I'm not prepared for, essentially. But I can look those up in my own time. So Lego style AI videos for Iran. There we go. You guys can look it up in your own time as well. Imagine you on the bag. I don't know what that means, sorry. What's happening with pricks and minifigs? That's funny. Yeah, we were just discussing kind of what happened. You would think AI would be good at that, but AI has failed to tell me what 47,000 cents in dollars is. Yeah, that feels like one that they would be very good at. I know that they don't allow for counting because it like overwhelms the servers or whatever, but I feel like they should know 47,000 cents in dollars. The final evolution is Frantasaria. Cute. I get it, avoid it, but look like, yeah, that's the thing, is that's what I mean, is I'm okay with saying like, oh yeah, there is AI Lego propaganda. Like, that is fascinating. That is interesting, but we don't know where that will go. So I can look at that in my own time. A spade is not a shovel. I've always wondered this, so I do appreciate this. Spade versus shovel. Let's see the difference. Blue Gatorade or watermelon? I don't drink those kind of colorful drinks, so I guess watermelon. Hello, Moonlight. I honestly think debate culture has done so much to ruin public discourse. It's inherently adversarial. Nobody wants to be seen giving ground to their opponent. Yes, I completely agree. So it just polarizes things and pushes any viewpoint to its extreme. Yes, and that's how I feel as well. And I find it very upsetting because I think that it is important to see from other people's perspectives, and that can help challenge your view. And, you know, sometimes there will be people that you're like, I'm not even going to give the time of day. But it does feel like there is such an us versus them, and that's why I don't really like you say, the debate culture. Ninja, thank you so much for the resub. Much appreciated. Because it does feel more about defending this argument, rather than, okay, where's the middle ground? How can we see from your argument or see from your side, rather than why are you right or why am I right? I don't like that style of debating. You mean you won't debate about stuff you're not informed in on the internet? Oh, well, when you put it that way. Let's start. Heated Reddit? Why, I never. No matter how much lamb, roast chops, ribs I eat, they won't be counting themselves. Yeah. Especially when I hear Clement on my algorithms. Release the files! McDonald's corporate, I see this as an absolute win. Which one was that for? I missed Cactus John's message, but alright, I'll let you guys have your fun with that one since I've missed it. Well, the new Ayatollah's military was being demolished. He focused on commissioning new AI Lego videos. We must see the Lego videos! Push them out! It's a difficult call. On one hand, it's difficult to have a nuanced, intelligent discussion of anything worth talking about these days. On the other hand, there are plenty of things more important than Lego at the moment. And that's the thing, is there are a lot of things that people can easily weigh in on Because, something like Lego, it's like, well, I know Lego. It's inconsequential. It is trivial. Although I think that this case, as Visibly Upset said, it can have spillover effects, but it's easy to talk about Lego. What I find crazy is the the spread at which it's happened, and also the people, and this is how we kind of got onto it today, is the people who are out there now going to other franchises and getting like violent and getting up in the grill of just completely unrelated franchises, and it just doesn't help the case whatsoever. I do like tea in general. I love both blue Gatorade and watermelon. There we go. What are we yapping about the Lego situation? Pineapple pizza. I'm very boring in this regard. Just eat what you want to eat. But that is not what people care about, right? How would you classify your accent now? I wouldn't. So I have, I guess, a how do you phrase it? The thing is that in English, they have this, or in dialects, they have this term educated accent. And I don't like using the term educated accent because I feel like it is stupid. I feel like it is elitist, maybe. I have to think about what the word is. But I know that what I have is an educated New Zealand accent. But I think the reason it's no, it's not received pronunciation. Received pronunciation is another thing altogether again. So, for example, an educated American accent is basically how politics sound. Politicians, sorry. And I think it can be very. I haven't got the word. I have to think about this word. But for me, I have an educated New Zealand accent, but it doesn't sound right because I'm not educated other than high school. And so I think maybe that's where my gripes are. Because I know there are a lot of people who are from New Zealand and they don't have a strong New Zealand accent. They have more of a British sound. And Australians are the same. So there are a lot of Australian actors who sound more British. And that's because they had this vocal training and it's this very rounded sound, very British sound. That's kind of where I put my accent. Also, hello, Arlendrick. It's good to see you. I hope you're well. Do a backflip? Maybe later. Yeah, what the internet's for. Okay, catching up. You're chatting about the other game announcements over the last few days. No, I haven't actually looked into them. Other than they're all released in September. They're all releasing in September. No, I did not know this. Kind of like a dupe cards. I did not know this, Francis. Thanks, Aurelia. You're doing God's work. Is the Lego talk because of Reckless Ben? Absolutely. It's hard not to see all the Lego talk on the internet at the moment. Multicultural accent. I don't think I have a multicultural accent. I know that there are some people who have lived, they have family that when they were kids sent them all over the world, and they can have some really strange accents. So I met someone who I can't even remember what their entire background was, but their accent was even more strange than mine because they had strong American influences. I think I've had American influences, but it's not strong like this person has. I am from Australia and I have a convict accent. Yeah, so does Elentric. Good to see you. Hello. I actually I had on my list that I must message you, so I will do that. But it's good to see you. I can't stand New Zealand accent. Can you sit New Zealand accent? Americans always think Aussies are English, exactly. Cultivated, yeah. And that's the thing, Steve. You're absolutely correct. There are some things that I have more Americanisms on, but I wouldn't say I have an American accent. New Zealand has grown on me. Well, if you think that my accent is a New Zealand accent, then you're not correct. Especially when you're from states that has a bit more of a posh English accent. Oh, do you really, Aurelia? There we go. I'm from New Zealand. Australian accent has a mixture of Aboriginal. Well, the Aboriginal, there are a lot of different languages with the Aboriginal people as well. So they don't even all sound the same. I got a mixed American accent because I've lived everywhere. There we go, Fred. And do you mean mixed American or mixed like global accent? Americans are really bad at picking out non-American accents for some reason. Well, the thing is, I do actually give some leeway because America itself is such a massive country and has so many variations in the well, they're actually called dialects. If anyone was curious, an accent. If you want the real definition of accent, it's when someone is speaking a language that is their second language. That is when someone has an accent. So our moderator, Nine Fox, for example, they're from Norway. And so when speaking in English, they will have a Norwegian accent because that is English being the second language. Whereas when English or other languages are a first language and you have variations in the sounding of that language, that's called a dialect. So someone has an Australian dialect or a specific Australian dialect or an American dialect. No one ever uses those terms correctly. So I don't often correct people. But if you are curious, now you have the information yourself. So Americans are really bad at picking out non-American dialects for some reason, or rather, they are bad at picking out English dialects, perhaps. It's not an inherent can't hear accents thing because I can tell the difference between the vocal fry of California and the drawl of the South or the nervous politeness of Minnesota. It's just once they get out of their borders, the whole thing falls apart. Yeah, and fair enough. I'm from New Zealand, never heard that accent. It sounds more Australian. Well, I lived in Australia for 10 years, so yeah, it's a mixture of everything. Rain Man, but I am indeed from New Zealand. And you can hear it when I say some of my E's in particular. But dialect is me emphasizing it much more. Happy King's birthday. I don't know when the British celebrate it, admittedly. When I pronounce my E, sometimes I feel like that is. You can hear it every now and again. The more you listen, the more you will hear the Kiwi accent. Approaching conversations with humility and a willingness to learn, we can protect ourselves from the pitfalls of expertism. Expertism. I haven't really heard it, so I don't think I know that word in this context. Sorry, Autoloon, if you want to share about that one a bit more. She's an alien. It's true. It's true. People online can pass them out fine. This is for dialects, but for those who aren't, don't often encounter people with a non-American accent. Yes, exactly. The dialectic. I don't sound like that. Fair enough. America itself has something like 30 recognized dialects and tons of mixed ones. You can hit a couple dialects in just one state. And UK is the same. There are so Liverpool and Manchester are only 1 hour apart, and they sound quite different. I think outside of UK, you probably wouldn't think that they sound that different. I can't even try and mimic the dialects up there. Anyway, it's crazy. So what's a pidgin? The pidgin is the gibberish, right? Rest of the world is flooded by American media from all regions of the country. The same doesn't hold true in reverse. Yeah, I think that the closest would be British, perhaps, for English, we should say. But even if you think of how many Spanish speakers there are in the world. So you've got even just Spain and Mexico, let's say, let alone all of the South Americas. You wouldn't necessarily expect someone who's living in Spain in Europe to sound the same as a Chilean individual. And so they also can have dialects within the Spanish language, and they will sound different and have different lingo, the same way that Americans and British sound different, and Aussies as well have their own lingo. They all speak English, though.
even though they sound different. So that's why it's dialects rather than accents. Whereas a Spanish speaker speaking English would have a Spanish accent. Anyhow, you can still use accents. I know people won't use it correctly, but it still feels like my due diligence to to share what I know. I do love a good day, mate. Yeah, see, I can't even say g'day. I say good day. Good day. The king's actual birthday is the same as mine. There we go. Well, yeah, not the same, yeah. It's Europe and their colonies to boil it down. True. Yeah. So I have the New Zealand and the Aussie kind of twang. So I think that I actually fit into the UK quite well because the UK has so many different dialects that they just assume I'm from one of the villages somewhere, and it's just how I speak. The convicts learn Australian accent from the way Aboriginals spoke the English language. I don't think that would be correct because the Aboriginal didn't speak English. So there are a lot of, if you think of the Cockney accent, for example, the Cockney accent is a trope that people use for doing a British accent. You know, what did they say? Right, oh, governor, anyway, like, good morning, governor, it's whatever it is. And so I actually think that some of the Australian accents probably come from that kind of dialect from the UK. Oh, it's King's birthday in Australia, yeah, but King's birthday in New Zealand was last week. Do people celebrate it? Yeah, so in New Zealand, it's the first Monday of June. So New Zealand's was last week. Australia is, I think, the first Monday after the first Sunday. Is something a bit more convoluted. But I'll see King's birthday UK if they even celebrate it. Saturday. Is King's birthday a public holiday? It is not a bank holiday in the UK. But it is the third Saturday in June when the let's say monarch's birthday rather than the king's birthday, because the king is, it looked like, born in November. So it is not a public holiday like it is in Australia and New Zealand. But it is being celebrated on the 13th of June, the third Saturday of June. Hi, Inchers. What's new with you? I live in the UK. That's probably the biggest news since you've last been here. I'm in the UK now. I've mistaken the South African accent for a New Zealand accent. I have mistaken the South African accent for a New Zealand accent as a New Zealander. I remember watching District 9 for the first time, which is set in South Africa, and I was like, are those New Zealand actors? I can't tell. So yeah, I get it. I think that the South Africans and the New Zealanders have more vowel similarities than the New Zealanders and the Australians. That is my opinion. The BBC World Service has the news in Pidgin. Oh, really? As a native English speaker, I can read it. It passes and I can mostly understand what is being said, but I can't in any way produce those sentences. My brain isn't wired to output it. We learned a version of Pidgin in school, but it's not the same version that other people learn. So I can understand it, but I can't necessarily repeat it because all I know is the version that I learned. The streamer who's from Venezuela who lives in the UK and learned to speak English in the East End of London. They have such a strange but interesting accent because they speak English with the Eastern dialect and they do it with a Venezuelan Spanish accent. Yeah, so it's just all a mix. I love it. Hello, governor. That's the one. Thank you. Hello, governor. With a negative connotation, expertism, often referred to as expertitis or credentialism, is the harmful bias where people assume a person with specialized qualifications is always correct. Ah, understood. That's actually a very succinct way of putting it. Thank you, Orderloon. Very much appreciated. Cowboy accent. That's a sale, yeah. Hi, Mike. And hi, Judge. No. I moved from Australia. So New Zealander, lived in Australia for 10 years, now in UK. My uncle said I sound half Aussie, half Kiwi. I didn't really notice your accent, to be honest. I didn't think about it. I feel like, I mean, just like me, you fit in Australia just fine. Yes, Aboriginal people can speak English, but when the Brits got over there, they wouldn't have spoken English. They speak English now because that's what happens with colonization, but at the time they wouldn't have been speaking English. So the Australian convicts, they got to, like, they're Australian convicts because they were British convicts. That is the whole thing, that they already spoke English. And so the changes in their language would have been the separation, and then forming their own dialect from there. Shouldn't you celebrate the king's birthday on the king's birthday? Well, that's the thing, Bobby. It's not about the king specifically. It's about the monarch. And so, a couple years ago, it was Queen's birthday. But now that King Charles is the monarch, that is why it's changed to King's birthday. And so, if there's another queen that comes into the monarchy, then into the ruling, into the head of the family, then it'll be Queen's birthday again. And that's why they choose a day to celebrate the birthday for the monarch rather than the specific monarch. And that way they don't have to change it around every time the monarch changes. Not just about a queen or a king either. So, for example, when King Charles, his birthday is in November, but let's do Prince William, his son. So, William will become king when Charles passes away, and his birthday is in June, so that actually would work out very well. So happy birthday to Prince William in a few days. But so that they don't have to change the celebration every single year when the monarchs change, they just have one day for the year. Hopefully that explained it. We have the Royal Show as the Queen's or King's birthday public holiday, which is the first weekend of October in Western Australia. Ah, there we go. Yeah, because the states in Australia are a bit different too. I'm not an East Londoner, no. Pockets. I don't know why pockets, but that is how I say pockets. Well, now I've said it 3 different times, it feels. Anyhow. Oh, yeah, sorry. Cheers, I've got it. Oh, cool! I can actually see the links in. Oh, that's brilliant. Okay, this is wonderful. Okay, cool. I'm happy. When the auntie visiting Melbourne, well, I have to go chat. But you're right, I can't. I've been slacking in my matchmaking. In Australia, we like to make public holidays for any reason to have a day off work. Yeah, I mean, I lived in Melbourne, so I know that in spades with the Friday before grand final public holiday. I'm from the US, all the hot girls are from South Africa. Honestly, I was in Okay, I actually, you know what? I don't disagree. I went to South Africa just on the Western Cape in February. Everyone is pretty, yeah, I get it. There's a lot of attractive people, but they're also so ridiculously fit. They're very slim, and I saw very few overweight people. And I don't mean like obese. I mean just overweight. They're so slim there. I guess because I feel like South Africans just are very active people. They're cycling and they're running and they're hiking and they're just, yeah, I get it, JBM. I get it. The Pigeon World Service Newspaper. Cheers. My best mate is a Kiwi. She still has an accent. There we go. I remember Kiwis have to absolutely malform their insides just for one egg. Exactly. They have the ridiculous ratio there. Okay. Yeah, see, this is the thing, is some people think I sound... So New Zealanders think I sound like a New Zealander. Australians think I sound like an Australian with maybe from Southern Australia, like I'm from Adelaide. And then some Americans even think I sound American, and the Brits think I sound Brits. That's the thing. My accent is spoken about pretty much every single stream. That's why I don't have kids. That's the one, folks. The children learn to speak Australian, the accent. Okay, hold on. The children learn to speak Australian, the accent from the way Aboriginal people spoke the English language starting from the 1800s. Graham, are you from Australia by the way? I'm curious where you've got this information from. This one, I like the other comments that you've said. I disagreed with this one. I can start giving some leeway with, but I'm just wondering where you've heard it from, because it doesn't. Yes, thank you, Akans, for speaking the truth. Because I don't want you to have false information. In terms of speaking about the how Australians learnt their accents or dialects rather, because it is very complex and there are so many people who came to Australia. So for example, Southern Australians, they were not a penal colony. And so a lot of the rest of Australia were the penal colony, as in the convicts coming to Australia. Whereas South Australia, they didn't have that same history. And so a lot of people from South Australia and Adelaide have more of a British accent. So they will say dance rather than dance. And so a lot of people will put me closer to that accent than, say, a strong Sydney accent. Whereas the east coast of Australia, that's where that's where the first fleet arrived, in Sydney or near Sydney. And so that's where a lot of the people who were arrested in the UK came over. And so then you can look at that kind of history of what did the convicts sound like. And if you want to base that off a stereotype, that's why I mentioned the Cockney accent. If you look at stories from late 1700s, early 1800s of the commoners, who were the ones who were more likely getting arrested, that have your "hello, governor" stereotype. Obviously, it's more nuanced than that. And so that's why I feel like there is some similarity of the Australian dialect to that kind of Cockney-sounding dialect. And then, but I haven't looked into the history of Aboriginal people learning English. So that's why I'm asking questions about that. My headcanon is Australians got their accent by just being separated from the main language group and being bored, so they started calling my sunglasses sunnies. No, I think that to me, and I'm no expert. Ooh, a lot of Irish. That I didn't know. But to me, if you just think about the first people who were there and compare and how they would not have been the nobility, even the people who would have been running the penal colony, if you look at these, and yes, I am generalizing and stereotyping, but those exist for a reason. They're kind of generals, not generalizing, but the generals that are in these kinds of roles, they often will have a bit more of a gruff accent too. So I feel like that's what makes sense of how the Aussie dialect came about. Say it with a Kiwi. Oh yeah, so I actually can do like a strong Kiwi accent, but that's not how I speak, so I have to think about it. I don't know this one, Gareth. Sorry. Hi, Cody Cameron. In Australia, the National Employment Standard dictates 10 public holidays. Not all are national holidays. Many of them are state-specific. That makes sense. Cheers. Yeah, just sound like me, exactly. Kiwi accent, yeah, like a cross between South African, Australian, maybe. I don't know. But I do sound very English. But it's not even because I live in England. People who have been watching me for years before I moved to UK, this is just how I talk. Does your accent change when speaking to highly qualified people? Probably. I think that if I am speaking to super Brits, I sound more Brits. I don't really know how to explain it anymore. I do think that similar to, I think it's less that my accent changes and more maybe my lingo changes. So for example, if you are at work, you might not necessarily be swearing. And so there is a type of speech pattern that you use that is different to maybe being at home or with your friends or after you've had a few drinks. And so I think in that regard, yes, I do sometimes sound a little bit more posh, let's say. Kiwi sounds so cute compared to us or US. I don't know. I got to make sure that we're using the right one. I'm from the South US and live here, but my parents are from up north. So people ask if I'm from up there because apparently I have that. Yeah, you'd have the influence, right? Have the accent influence. Yeah, exactly, Nine Fox. It just feels simple. You're supposed to say, "Hello, Governor," with jaunty gesturing. It's part of the citizen test, isn't it? I think it's more like convenience just because they don't have to be as civilized in where they are. Yeah, I can understand that. And especially if you think of a penal colony, as in the convicts, they weren't necessarily civilized to start with. I mean, some of them ended up in Australia because they stole a loaf of bread and some really, really small crimes, but it was enough to send them to Australia. And so if you think of a stereotype of criminals, especially the nobility and situation that was going on in the UK, they're rounding up a bunch of lower class individuals, usually. It's always classism. There's been hundreds of years and it's still classism. But that kind of, even if you think of Game of Thrones, right? You had this very rounded, posh accent from the Lannisters. Whereas, what's the girl who ends up on the Watch? Well, even the Wildlings, right? They have a very different sound compared to the Lannisters and anyone in King's Landing or the Tyrells. Like all of this kind of upper class, they have very round, posh accents. Whereas then they would get the who's the girl who ends up with the Night's Watch? Her name is escaping me. And she's pregnant, and then anyway, she no, not the Wildling, agree. On the Night's Watch, and she's just like a cute little mousy character, and she has a baby. Oh, look at the Gilly. Yes, I kept on thinking Tilly. And I was like, it's not Tilly. It's not Tilly. And then because I got stuck on Tilly, I was trying to do rhyming with like Millie or Billy. Gilly, yes. And so she has no, not Maisie Williams. Gilly. Gilly is the character I was thinking of. So she has an accent that's more of this like lower class accent. And so if you think of people from the lower class and they all got picked up and put in Australia, that is the Australian dialect. and then, like you say, from that separatization, I guess, from being separated, that just gets reinforced, rather than having the upper class influence. But you still see that, and like I said, that's why I brought up South Australia, where that was not a penal colony. That's where a lot more of the people who chose to go to Australia rather than were forced to go to Australia, and they sound a little bit more British. And to add to that, the people who go through like the acting training, you can hear in their dialects they sound a little bit more British. So even like Hugh Jackman, right? Comparing Hugh Jackman to Steve Irwin, they sound very different, no? And that is because Hugh Jackman has some of this acting training, this rounding vocal training that makes him sound a little bit more, as they say, educated. But I don't like that. Refined, maybe? I think I don't like the terminology because it implies that the rounded accent are the more superior accent. So saying refined or educated is implying better than. I think that's why I don't like that kind of terminology. Oh, I didn't go to university, not yet, but I'm thinking of studying law. That's kind of the one that has been intriguing me to go to university in answer to your question. Edo games, or I do games, sorry. A lot of USA or also or poor good rush. I missed what that was. Sorry for accounts. Language evolves in the same way that life does. You isolate populations, they'll diverge over time if it's not kept in touch with each other for reference. For sure. Yes, the code switching, telephone voice, or babies. Or it's like, oh, look at the little puppy. Like, that's code switching as well. So, yes, good point. Phone voice is a good one. Hello. A penal colony, penal colony wasn't named after that, after someone. Yeah. You do your thing. Us is in England. Thank you, G-Man, for that. I was just double checking. Since we're talking linguistics, I want to say a fact about the US English has the original accent, and the UK English is the one that changed to lose the R because it sounds more posh and high class. I thought my understanding was that some of the American accent is heavily influenced by the Irish accent, and that's why the R's are so pronounced, because the Irish do the same. That was my understanding, but I guess it can be a bit of column A, bit of column B. Thank you, Outer Games, by the way. Fun to talk with. Love the way you speak. Tanko Tiger. Yeah, and that's the thing is because a lot of new people will come into the live stream and they're like, whoa, where's your accent from? So it gets spoken about a lot. And the people who have been watching me for years are probably sick of it, but I feel like I don't mind speaking about my dialect or how I speak because I know people are curious and I want to be able to give them the same opportunity that someone who was here for 3 years got 3 years ago. But also I feel like when we do speak about dialects in particular, that there still ends up being conversation about other things that intrigue me enough to warrant talking about it. Sophie Turner spoke more posh on purpose. Oh, really? I haven't actually thought about what Sophie Turner sounds like in interviews. I would have to watch an interview to know. New Zealanders and Aussies hate each other. Nah, it's more like a sibling rivalry. I don't hear news like that very often, so I would doubt that statement. I missed which one that was for. Sorry. So I'll refrain from that one. Any stupid laws? I don't know about New Zealand laws that are stupid. Australia, they have some really crazy laws because, like America, they have a few states, and so there's variation between the states, and there's some funny ones that come up, but none that come up off the top of my head. Yeah, Aussies don't hate Kiwis. It's just a rivalry. Could just move to Arizona and take the bar exam without going to law school? You're kidding. Wait, so you don't have to... You can just take the bar exam. So let me get this right. If you take the bar exam and you pass, that doesn't necessarily make you a lawyer though, right? Or does that make you a lawyer? Anyway, that's bonkers. Crazy. New Zealand, I noticed much of their TV content had US English speakers for sure. But when I would speak to a New Zealander, they would want me to repeat what I said at first. And that's it. I think that there's... similar to how Upset talked about code switching when speaking. So you have your telephone voice. So maybe you're like, yeah, swear. And then you, hello? yes, this is Clementine. Oh, yeah, and the thing is with phones, it makes sense because you have to be super clear because sometimes it doesn't get picked up on the other end. But I think that there's some sort of it's different for the auditory side of things. That's all the vocal side of things. But auditory, like you say, New Zealanders, Australians, they have access to a lot of American television. But I can say even for myself, when I hear an American speaking in person, it doesn't sound like how Hollywood sounds. Like when you're listening to Hollywood TV shows or movies, you don't think about the accents, but somehow it's so jarring when in person, and it is a tougher one, and I don't know why. So I'm not surprised that they asked you to repeat yourself if you had an American accent, Jeff. San Diego here, mistake accent, and they get super offended. Yeah. There's a lot of Irish in Boston and New York accents. Yeah, well, that would make sense with the East Coast, right? Neurolinguistics programming is original term. Is that code switching, is it, Akans? I know that that was mentioned earlier, but I wasn't 100% sure if that was in terms of code switching. And they do law if you want to do postgraduate and have good connections. Well, I don't want to become a lawyer. That's what the silly thing is. I don't want to become a lawyer. I just want to learn law. Isn't that silly? Depends where you are in the US. Some people say wash, wash, wash. And some people say, I don't know, I just say wash. We don't pronounce out R's in New England. Okay. Never get much about accents or dialects personally, as long as I understand you, it's fine. Exactly! And so I think that's kind of how I look at my dialect, is people understand me. And that's not always the case. Sometimes I hear strong New Zealand accents, despite growing up in New Zealand. Sometimes I hear strong ones, I'm like, huh? What? Say that again? Who's winning the World Cup? I think that it's going to be the Dutch this year. I have no reason to believe that. I'm just placing my bet right here, right now. If you really want to go, wait, that's what they sound like out of character, then I present Marina Sirtis. Who's this? Yes, that's also true. It depends on which American accent. It can be tough to hear, and that's what I mean. Even the Australians can get super strong. And there's if you guys have seen Hot Fuzz, they have a whole skit about translating even English accents. We trill out R's. Cute. Bouquet residence, lady of the house. Yes, Bouquet residence, lady of the house speaking. You've also got to consider that someone speaking to you in person might be code switching a little. True. It did seem to me like people in England thought Americans had 3 accents for a long time. Yeah, it's more like 50 or something. Wait, Cactus John, how many did you say the dialects were? I've already forgotten the number. Absolutely on phone clarity for sure, especially with a strong NI. With strong NI accent. NI? Why am I stumped on this acronym? Oh, Northern Ireland, of course. Yes, yeah. I think that I would struggle with some of the Northern Irish as well. The thank you, Cactus John. Yeah, I said 50 and I was like, I don't think it was quite that much, but 30. What's your live about? We just have conversations. So we facilitate discussions about a whole bunch of different topics. And we were talking about the Lego situation earlier, if you've watched that from Reckless Ben. But now we're talking about dialects. Yes, thank you, Sunbeam. No, I've seen, I guess NI is also could be like North Island, not Ireland. Anyhow, I was told to try and learn a Northern Irish accent, and then I looked up a Northern Irish accent, and I went, nope, not trying that one. Not that one. Do you feel Kiwis that have more in common with US or Brits? Definitely Brits. And I say this as someone who lived in both New Zealand and Australia. New Zealanders have way more British influence, and Australia has more American influence than they realize. It's still got a lot of British culture, I would say. But even I think because Australia, and this is now theory, like this is pure theory, but I think because Australia has a larger population and also size, that there's more American companies that will go to Australia than New Zealand. So even just as simple as a 7-Eleven. Australia has a lot of 7-Elevens. New Zealanders, what do we have? That's right, our local dairy. And so that is kind of what I'm referencing in terms of American influence on Australia that is lacking in New Zealand. I think New Zealand still has quite a British approach to even the schooling, which is not absent in the Australian schooling system. I would have to talk to more people who went through that system to be certain. But yes, I do feel the New Zealanders have more in common with the Brits than the Americans. Yep, you got it, Boba. Same topics. Don't really have Keanu Reeves' accent. There we go, but more Latin mix. Cute. When we're getting the female equivalent of Junior, I don't know who you're speaking about in that regard. Sorry, Burgundies. Marina Sirtis is mostly known for playing Deanna Troi of Star Trek. The character does not sound like her normal accent. Understood. Okay, I never got into Star Trek, so that's why I didn't know about them. Skateboard and surfing, nice. Not to be confused with the accent of the knights who say me. Yep, yeah, that's what we do. And that is just recognized, like here in England, each state has its own accent, and we can tell all of them. My goodness gracious. Messi or Ronaldo? Well, I've been saying that I like Chris Wood because then I feel patriotic. Yeah, North Indian, maybe. Aussies and Americans can bond over their love of big V8s and grilling things. Yes, well, now that I learnt more about the South African Africans as well, apparently it's the same there. They just have different lingo. So instead of a ute, it's a bucky, and instead of a barbecue, it's a braai, and it's a lot of similarities there too. And the rugby. Do you have a favorite part of the UK you've been to? Yes, Bath. Bath was my favorite city. So I did a lot of traveling of the UK last year before deciding to move. The reason why I am here now is because I've got a pretty sweet situation where someone's letting me live in their attic, which is nice. That is hence the brick wall behind me. But when I did my traveling, I actually haven't done any traveling other than to Cambridge since moving here. But last year I flew into Scotland, and then I did basically this massive road trip up in Scotland, and then I stayed in Manchester for a month, and then from Manchester I traveled all the way south, even down to Hastings. So I did looking at the point to point of where I had gone on the UK. I was pretty impressed with myself. Oh, can I open this up? And my favorite city was Bath. I thought it was just so beautiful, so green, so lush, so clean. The old Roman or neoclassical look, I suppose. Yeah, Bath was just gorgeous. I wouldn't live there though. I think one, because I probably couldn't afford it. And I think the novelty would wear off. It's a nice place to go and visit and admire the beauty. I think it's one of the cleanest cities I saw in the UK. I will be very honest, UK is not a very clean country. I find it quite sad, actually. There's a lot of rubbish everywhere. It's one of the first things that I noticed when being particularly in Manchester. I don't know what they're doing wrong, if they don't have people collecting rubbish, if they don't have somewhere to put the rubbish. Yeah, I find it difficult to find a rubbish bin sometimes, but there's just a lot of litter, and it's really, really upsetting. But Bath had none of that, so I have a lot of love for Bath. But in terms of areas that I visited, I mean, Scotland just as a whole was gorgeous. I would have to explore more of UK. Leeds had a vibe, but I would have to go back there to be more receptive of it. New Zealand isn't classed the West. I hadn't really thought about that, but yeah, I'll take your word for it. Drawing out syllables and using heavy fry acts like auditory speed bumps. It forces the listener to slow down, wait, and pay attention, not necessarily understanding. Yes, I've heard this in speech patterns, I suppose, vocal training in general. And so when I was going through acting school, as an example, sometimes they would speak about how slowing down speech, it can be very intentional. It can be very commanding. And sometimes intimidating, and there's a lot of tactics that can be employed when looking at speech patterns, and I completely agree that there are people that speak slowly that command more attention because you want to listen. Not everyone. Sometimes you're just like, oh my god, spit it out, I'm putting you on 2x speed on my YouTube video. But there are some who are very good at using the slow speech patterns. And other people who are really, really super fast at talking, and it's really impressive because it's like, how do you speak that quickly? How do you think and then able to eloquently express yourself with that speed and tone? And it's just a lot. Speech is fun. In New York City specifically, you can narrow down which borough someone is from accent. Also true. Keep the American companies out. The ones that move around the world have other agendas. I mean, that's just the world, though. I don't think we can really do much about it, Smokey. When you lived in New Zealand, did you ever see a kakapo? No. So other than in and tuatara as well, other than in zoos, I've never seen them in the wild. They're incredibly rare to see, but you absolutely got the kakapo spelling correct. So you should be proud of yourself with that. They're so heckin' cute. I love the kakapo. But even the tuatara is quite rare to spot in the wild too. There are a lot of people who will never see these things in their life living in New Zealand. Love me mum, love me dad, love me wife, love me car. Exactly right. No snakes, just the two-legged ones. Exactly right. I'm tempted to save up my clementines for the get scammed. I have a feeling you're going to do something funny with it, but I think that's just wishful thinking. Oh, I mean, you save up your clementines and see how you go. What's the point of Bathurst now that there's no Holden Beatport? Kakapo, tuatara, extremely rare. Exactly right. I'm in Cambridge. There we go. Yeah. I have a friend who's doing their PhD over there. They're just finishing up their thesis actually, so I need to go back before they leave. They're leaving. They got a, what do they call it? Not a residency. Not a tenure. They got a position, whatever the terminology is in another country. So I have to go see them before they leave. So that's why I actually went to Cambridge last month, was it? The month before? Anyway, that's why I went to see them. So I have to go back. I live in London and can vouch the UK isn't beautiful, but it depends what you see the beautiful. Oh yes, for the architecture, stunning. Absolutely stunning, Smokey's choice. And that's the thing, is that's what I really loved, because I went to a whole bunch of different cities, and it's so funny that I've ended up in Southampton, because I went into all of these cities and there was just such a and villages, even driving through the villages. One thing I love about the UK is how uniform a lot of the building materials they use in their villages are. So you can be in this village and it'll be all completely made of sandstone, and then you come over here and it's all like cobblestone, and then you go over there and it's all wood, and it creates such a beautiful sense of community, and it's very aesthetically pleasing, rather than this house looking different to this house to this house. The entire village has a similar look, and I remember even when I went to Nottingham as a bigger city, there was just this particular blue, not the same blue that they use on the London Tower Bridge or Big Ben. They also have this striking blue, but in Nottingham it's like this deeper, rich, not quite navy blue that I was seeing in this Tudor style look, and it was just beautiful and striking. And like I said, I feel like it creates this sense of community and representation of, and like, this is who we are in whichever village or city, and I loved that. It's just unfortunate, and even when I was staying in Manchester, red brick everywhere, the bee motif everywhere. It was so cute. It was lovely. I really, really appreciated it. And that's not something that New Zealand nor Australia have. They're truly nothing like that. I don't know what it's like in other countries, but that's something I really found quite prominent in the UK. And that's why I say it's funny that I ended up in Southampton, because Southampton is not got that uniformity whatsoever. I was saying to my housemate that I feel like Southampton needs a revamp. It needs a fresh coat of paint, and then it needs just like a little motif to get people to be like, oh yeah, like look at the Southampton cats or whatever, where people just have like a cat silhouette everywhere. I don't know what it would be, but like the bees of Manchester, I just think that Southampton needs, they need a Titanic change. Exactly. Maybe they have just little boats everywhere. I don't know what it is, but they struggle with their identity themselves. I went to the IKEA, and also that is a mission in itself, but the car park that you go through has all of these poles that have like famous Southampton people. None of them are from Southampton. They're all like, oh, this is when Muhammad Ali visited Southampton. They've just got very little going for them, and that's okay. But that's why they need to make something of themselves. They need to get that fresh coat of paint, because I said that Southampton just seems so tired. It just feels like the identity that I've given Southampton is tired. She just a little bit, not run down, that's a different word again, but just tired. And so they have this river that's going through the entirety of the city, which is quite nice. But then they have all these boats that it's like no one uses them. They all have just the moss overgrown. What's not anyway, the algae overgrown. It just looks tired, forgotten, neglected. That's what it is. It just feels like there's some neglect. It's not as dirty. It's again, that's a different word again. But she just needs a little revamp. You know? New mayor is tired as well. Oh, yeah, it just looks old, and not in the historical sense, like London, like and a lot of places in Europe as well. These 400-year-old homes, not even homesteads, but like flats that people used to live in, and you walk through a city and it has built in 1600. It's not that kind of old. It's just knackered. Exactly. Yeah, it's like it's in a coma, and it's just having the growth growing on them. Yes, exactly. It needs a glow up. Faded. Faded is another good word for sure. Oh, okay, let me catch up with some things that I missed as well. Hi, Sahid. Lots of our cities, London especially, stop having public rubbish bins for, let's say, political reasons. Dare I ask? This is what I mean, though. I'm still learning. I'm incidentally learning some of the politics of England, but we won't get in it today. Bath needs a bath. No, that's the thing, is because Bath has a bath constantly. That's why Bath is so beautiful. No pride in UK? I actually don't disagree with you. I think especially for those, especially in the UK, you would have heard about the riot down here in Southampton. That made me look up a few things. And it's not just that one, but I know that there's a lot, especially with parties like Reform. I only bring them up because they have this. There's a lot of this rhetoric that's going around in the UK of like keeping English culture. And I've been really trying to think about, especially as an outsider, what does British culture look like? And so I don't want to get into like the political immigration stuff that that a lot of the parties are talking about. But like I said, I only bring it up because of these situations going on. The idea of British culture is spoken about, and so I try to think about what does that mean. So Scottish, for example, you have the kilts and you have the cavatars and there's a lot up there, and the bagpipes. But what is like English culture, perhaps, rather than British culture? What's English culture? And it is a question that I've been posing myself, and I don't necessarily have an answer to. So I think that's something that I want to understand and listen out for, and see even people that I don't necessarily agree with, like, what is that? Because I think of football, for example. Football is huge here, but it's and sports, but that's not exclusive to England. Yeah, and so maybe there can be a lack of pride because of a lack of identity. Has this pride is just big social experiment at this point? Big companies. Well, this is also what I was saying, is I feel like when I do any of my shopping, it's all online. I don't feel like I have my local place to go to. Tea, even just like the foods, right? It's interesting. The idea of English for the English is stupid. The island is more French and Nordic than English. Yeah, but that's what I mean. Is that's why I've been trying to ask, especially as an outsider, what are English? And yes, actually, it's funny you should say Harry Potter, because I think that theatre, I think that there's something about theatre, like think of Shakespeare as a just throwing it out there. There's something there that I feel like maybe the English, like almost like a queerness. That I guess a lot of people wouldn't really be prideful in, although Happy Pride Month. There is, I feel like, something there that is very British. Even if you look at their TV shows and their comedy, I do feel like British comedy is quite different, and I don't necessarily have the ability to put my my thumb on it. Oh, the French side. Okay, never mind. You've already disproven it. But I do think that the buildings are great. And I guess maybe there's some nobility, but again, you could call that the French side or European side. English culture is a melting pot of cultures. Yeah, exactly. Don't necessarily have anything our own except Morris dancing. I don't know Morris dancing. Humor is top tier though. I really do like British humor a lot. I like I said, I can't necessarily tell you what English humor is, but it's witty. I think it's clever. But even the slapstick somehow is clever. I don't know how to. There's something there. Yeah, English love their Indian curry, exactly. Okay, I have a whole bunch of stuff that I missed, so I'm gonna go back and read some of those. You have any good work? Yeah, and then Smokey, you said even 10 minutes ago about the bringing the Commonwealth cultures as well. Nottingham was so weird architecturally. We got some beautiful buildings that are hundreds of years old, and then there are some hateful low-budget blocks that were thrown up in the 1960s right next door. Well, luckily I must have missed out on some of those because I thought Nottingham was beautiful. It's just too far from the coast for me. I don't think voice speeds varies on my level based on my emotion, but also how I'm talking to you. There we go for the speech patterns. Okay. I lost 10,000 points. So this is everything I ever hoped it would be. I didn't see you use your points though, Blue. Maybe you'll have to try it again. I'd probably be there if it wasn't for the karaoke and just dance redeems for the Clementines. Okay. Yeah, I felt like a lot of this stuff we could skip through, which is good. Bitches on life support just like Tauranga. Yeah, but Tauranga at least has the beach and the nature. Southampton, it has a river. It has a lot of parks, but those are more manufactured rather than natural. So maybe, but at the Tauranga, at least you can look out to the ocean and go, ah, beautiful. Whereas Southampton, you look out at the ocean, you go, ah, miserable. Bradford, I don't know where Bradford is. You think it is run down here in Southampton? I was trying to be nice about it, I guess. I feel like when people are talking about preserving the culture is similar. It's just a dog was. Yeah, I don't disagree, but I think it's less so about I guess instead of trying to see that as like a rally cry, I'm like, what would I consider? It's like a curiosity thing rather than a understanding the social and political implications that are going on. It's like, what is English? What is English? Nearly headless. How can you be nearly headless? Like this. Okay, I think that we're pretty good. British is dry and self-deprecating and somewhat cerebral, where the US comedy is obvious, like kick in the balls and fall down. Hilarious. English is pub on Friday, fish and chips or a sausage and mash, basically protein and carb. Oh my god. So I tried a different place. I went to a different cafe. They called it a kitchen even. Because I have like my local cafe that I go to, and I went, you know what? I'm gonna try something different. I want to see what else is out there, and it was so British in a way that it's not really my thing. It's the without the French influence. So it was like being in a fish and chips shop, but serving your full English breakfast and a bap, which is a roll, and it just definitely was not my style, but I gave it a crack, and it just went, yes, this does feel very English, but not in a way that I am excited about. American humor, my partner is British. Oh, you're American humor, but your partner's British. Yeah, those would be conflicting for sure, but you can find a middle ground. Pub on any day. I will say that there is a pub that, other than when it's closed, it does get a lot of love and you see all the locals turn up to, and that's kind of nice too. Morris Dancing is probably where they get the humor from. Yeah, I don't know what it is. Maybe I'll look it up. My favorite English dish is chicken tikka masala. Damn straight. Mr. Bean is funny for sure. There's a beautiful building that's got an Alchemist restaurant in it here in the city center. Genuinely, the building is gorgeous. Go to it on Google Street View. I'm actually on Google right now. So Alchemist restaurant. Let's see if it will be nice to me and bring it up. In Nottingham, you say. Oh, looks like they've got a few of the Alchemists around the country. Hi, Kylie. Hi, George. Hi, Jose. Ahoy, matey. Let me know if this is too personal, but how do you afford to travel? Oh, I don't pay rent. That is as simple as it as is. I have spoken about it. The reason that I have booked so many trips is because a lot of the money that I was saving up for my move that would have gone towards things like rent. I am in a very cushy situation where I don't pay rent right now. Last year I did a lot of fundraising to travel. The only reason I got to the UK is because of the generosity of the Twitch community. I know recently I've branched out onto YouTube, but last year we did a massive fundraiser, and that's what got me to the UK. I would not have been able to get here without that. And so that is how I did my travel. And then I loved it so much, and I just felt like, yep, it's time for something new. I thought about going to Germany and staying with my auntie, and so I wouldn't have to pay rent, but I would have to sort out my passport. But when I was visiting here in Southampton, my housemate said that I can crash with them. So that is why it is feasible for me for now. But I also have I will confess I am very good at budgeting, and so I look at how much I think things are going to cost, and I do not spend outside of that, and I pop that aside every month and all that kind of stuff. But yes, I am reading older messages in answer to your question. In answer to this, Ryan, I've got there are messages that I am catching up on, but I am on Twitch and on YouTube. We've read super chats. I don't have. You can't give a super chat. I'm not monetized. Like, I'd like to put that out there. I'm not monetized. There can't be super chat. So just keep that in mind when thinking about what I am and am not reading. I don't know what a mini minter is though. Okay, fine, I'll look it up. Mini minter. People stood together to help this country grow. That's cute. I like that. Do you like German comedy? Honestly, I haven't looked it up, so I cannot comment on German comedy. But I think that although the Germans are not known for their humor, I think that because of that, they are breaking into this niche of very serious, not dry humor, but very serious humor that I do find quite funny. Have you ever been out for afternoon tea? I mean, I've had afternoon tea at home but I haven't gone out for afternoon tea, so that could be something I can look into. Bradford's next to Leeds. Gotcha. Yeah, I liked Leeds. Leeds was nice. Southampton is where fish fingers were invented. I did not know that. It was not lush. I had a few too many drinks and went swimming in the ocean. Almost lost my life not that long ago. Respect nature. Jeepers, Autoloon. I'm glad you're okay, but yeah, don't drink and swim. Don't get started on the BAP roll call bomb. Every region has its own name. Yeah, so here it was BAP. Monty Python was so good. This live is on my home feed. Well, welcome on in, Twitch Game VODs. It's funny that your name is Twitch Game VODs but you're on YouTube. I like it. I like my coffee like I like my women. Puerto Rican! Hell yeah, brother! True, Smokey, about the dividing and causing panic. If the people stood together, England would not be like this. And I think that's the problem, right? Is this divisiveness. That's not just in UK. It's happening all around the world. Literally every single country is feeling more and more divisive. And it's sad to see. Okay. Try living in California. No, thank you. Cactus from the top row all the way down to the YouTube chat. Who's your sponsor? My housemate. My housemate is my sponsor, I guess. Absolutely anything can become a back scratcher. Even, what about like, I have this. Can this be a back scratcher? I wouldn't say I could smack my back, but I don't know if anything can be a back scratcher. It was my birthday Saturday. Happy birthday to you. What car you drive? I don't have a car. Morris dancing is English folk dance, is group display dance using sword sticks, handkerchiefs, flower garlands, done to traditional music on instruments like accordions and fiddles. That sounds lovely. It reminds me of Irish dancing and what do the Scots call it? Highland dancing. So it's probably, there's some similarities there. I know a lot of Germans who were very funny and fun people, but the classical joke structure in English doesn't work in German because of how the language is structured. I will agree with you there. My mum was from Nottingham and my dad was from Mexico. You're a Lima Beam. Adorable. I don't know what that means, Hayden, so I guess not. When you do get monetized, I'll give you a monetary income. Thank you. That is very kind. But yes, as you can tell, I do read messages. I'm just slow to do so. And so we catch up eventually. I like you. Thank you, Enrique. Can be a back scratcher if you put a rock in it. Damn. Okay, I take it back. Anything can be a back scratcher. See, I'm willing to have my mind changed. Hi, Daniel. Separatism, yeah, whatever that is exactly. Nice brick wall, thank you. What game do you play on Twitch? I'm currently playing Red Dead Redemption 2. We're going to play some in about 40 minutes. Hello, user. Oh, thank you, biscuits. Never stop the crying. Oh god, that is not the mentality that I like. I enjoy what I do. I've been streaming on Twitch for many years now, and I can tell you the grind has not gotten me to mass fame. I would say that I've been very successful. It's literally helped me move countries. But it's been very nice to take a more chilled approach to live streaming over the last few months, as opposed to the grind mentality. I've done my grinding. I wish not to continue. But nonetheless, it is. We'll see what happens. I've been enjoying multi-streaming on YouTube, though. I will say that. No, we don't have to say you should be famous. Remember, fame is not for everyone. It would be nice to earn more money, don't get me wrong, but that's just whatever industry you're in. I think that for me, I don't know what I'm doing, so I don't necessarily know how to market that, you know what I mean? Notice some of the words we have used getting switched to emoticons. Yes, exactly. You can blame Nine Fox for that one. Oh, cheers biscuits, that's nice. Yeah, I think I would like to try some more like a YouTube specific content that's not live streaming, because the multi-streaming we're kind of doing on Twitch, but I think it would be cool to make some videos specifically for YouTube. I just don't know what they are yet. So I've been doing the vertical stuff, which has been fun. Which has just been clipping from live streams, but I think it would be cool to do something separate. And I've been saying that for a while, but I still haven't figured out what I want to necessarily record, I suppose. Fallout games have a lot of grinding, yeah, so we're just in this dystopia over here. Okay, so let me have a look. This is Mini Minter. I can see some similarities, I suppose. Again, it's the long face, long narrow face. Same nose, actually. Yeah, I guess if I said that we were siblings, people would believe it. And then we also have... Are we able to look at the... Whoa! This is cool. This is the alchemist that Upset was talking about. Doesn't really have the outside, I suppose. Let's go through... I think what I'll do is I'll go through my tabs here and close them off. And then we will start winding down so that I can start playing some games. So if you're on YouTube and you want to follow along the gaming session, come on over to Twitch, because I don't live stream my gaming content on the xClementine YouTube channel. I do live stream it to xClemPlays, but you can't live chat over there because I don't want to have people live chatting while I'm gaming on YouTube. It is a scary world up there. I don't want to have messages like this person saying, eat something, you look malnutrished, even though they meant malnourished. So, babe, pick up a dictionary, I suppose. But I don't want to deal with that while gaming. It's fine when chatting, because I have more attention focused on the live chat. But while gaming, I don't want people commenting on my looks when I'm gaming. It's like, if they're doing it here, whatever. But while gaming, I just want a game. I don't want to be thinking about these random comments. I just noticed. Gotcha. Go to camera. At least there's a step up from Asmongold. No, I think it's hilarious when people compare me to Asmongold. It's my claim. People, if you live stream, you'll get YouTube partnership. Yeah. So I'm actually almost there, to be honest, Biscuits, but not there yet. But yes, you go. Goodbye, Biscuits. Do you like video games? Yes, I do have a channel dedicated to games. Xclem Plays, or Twitch is probably the better one. Search up Blue Waffles. I'm not going to search up Blue Waffles, thank you. Do what I gotta do, exactly. RP Henry Nowak, indeed. It is very sad. Also, if you guys are curious, this is the difference between a spade and a shovel. A spade has a flat tip and a shovel has a pointed tip. Now you know. Squarer, spade, pointed, shovel. That came up from ages ago. What else do we have? This is the Pigeon website. But it is not really. It's like this weird. I don't know really what's going on there. I'll hold that for later. Civil rights lawyer. I'll watch later. Duolingo. We can close off. Cool. All right. Well, that's all the tabs. Fake news. So, well, in that case, what I would suggest. Yes, spades are rectangular and shovels are pointed tips. Spades are the squarer look. They're the flat ones. And then a shovel is the pointed one. A spade versus a shovel. Yeah. Fake news for the spade and shovel. Big difference is that spades and shovels have different use cases. Yes, this is true. Asmongold is a streamer too. This is true. Asmongold is one of the largest live streamers out there and also has a massive following on YouTube. I am not out here saying that you should go watch him, but I get compared to him a lot, so he comes up in conversation a lot. I've had it wrong my whole life. My parents lied to me. Wait. Yeah, I hate those realizations. One is for digging and the other is for moving something. That makes sense. So I guess the pointed tip would be for digging because that helps get into the ground more, whereas the spade would be better for coal. What are you doing standing in an alley? Well, first of all, I'm sitting, so it's a lot comfier, but I'm in an attic. This is my housemate's attic that I stream from. Yes, but that's also a good point, G-Man. The spades on a card look more like a shovel. So they messed up there. Both are called spade in Norwegian. They're just different varieties. Ah, gotcha. Okay. So maybe it doesn't matter so much. Shove, shovel. Spade is for digging, shovel. Wait, what? Why would spade be for digging when spade is the flat one? That sounds even more silly. I guess the pointed tip would help push things onto the shovel. I guess a shovel makes sense that it would be for scooping because you're shoveling. The Ace of Shovels doesn't sound right anyway. Yeah, only because you don't know any different. If we had grown up with that it could have been fine. Oh, cheers, Orderloon. I appreciate your guys' intelligent dialogue. You're putting it on me, but a lot of it's on you guys, okay? That's what I thought, Nine Fox. Yeah, I'm having a pee in an alley. You heard it here. Anyway, Orderloon, you go do your thing. Hey, Captain! How do you manage to do that every single time? It is truly impressive. They're both for digging? I guess you use whatever tool you have, right? Okay, everyone. I am going to reiterate, now that I am caught up, we are going to start playing some video games. So if you want to join, come over to Twitch. I'm going to have a little break because we have been live for 3 hours and I haven't had anything to eat. So I will go make myself a little snacky snack. So we'll chuck on some words on stream. I'll go eat and then we'll play some Red Dead Redemption 2. So thank you guys for joining us. It was nice to be back. Yeah, I think I'll go to the bathroom as well. Good point. And get my drink bottle. I must remember my drink bottle. Thank you, Cody Cameron. Yeah, my drink bottle's downstairs. I'll grab that too. Yeah, thank you guys for hanging out. If you enjoyed yourself, consider subscribing. If you're over on Twitch, we're not going anywhere. And I guess I'll read these messages about the shovel versus spade before I go. Why do spiders invade our homes to stalk us from the corner of our room wall? I like to think that the spiders are guardians because without the spiders, we would potentially be overrun with other creepy crawlies and other bugs. So consider that. They are here to protect us and save us from all of the flies. They're not stalking, they are helping. They're little guardian angels. Remember, without us, she'd just be a silly weirdo talking to herself. Exactly! That's exactly right. Are you sure it's point shovel? I always taught the other way. Well, so did Cactus John. Well, now, okay, look. I want to look it up again. Shovel versus spade. Socio-historical conditioning. I can't believe how much it lied to us. Okay, look, here we go. So, we have too blurry of a photo. This is a shovel. This is a spade. Everything on the Google imagery says shovel is the pointed tip. What's the difference? Oh, look, this is a spade that is being used for digging. Does this one have anything that I can read? It's all blurry. Why is it so blurry? Oh. Why it do this to me? We might have to read the actual webpage. I hate mosquitoes as well. I'm doing 9 parts for the Glenbyre. See you later, Phil. The flat one is for moving a pile of gravel or dung, etc. That makes sense. Yeah, that's for scooping. Or a spade would be used for snow as well, I guess. You can't dig with a shovel. A spade has a sharp and narrow blade. Shovel, well, that's the thing. A spade is supposed to be the flat end. So I guess people have been taught the other way around. A spade is the flat end, which I wouldn't think would be very good. Because even, yeah, I'm thinking of a trowel for gardening. That's got a pointed end so that you can go into the ground. Whereas a spade wouldn't be very good at that. Thanks, G-Man. Yeah, I tried to... oh, yeah, the redirect notice. Let me just double check that it's all good. Instagram reel? I don't want to go to an Instagram reel. What the heck? Oh, well, this one is completely different again. Look, do you need a shovel or a spade? Do you need a square trench or a rounded trench? Rounded trench would be a shovel, a square trench would be a spade. So I guess it doesn't really matter. That is what it has taught us. It doesn't. Whoa, look at how many spades there are there. Yeah, see this one, that's why it was so little, because it's okay. You know what? If it's an Instagram reel, maybe it will be good. Yeah, it's just a Mandela effect. Okay, here we go. Let's all learn together. Oh, it's going to cut roots or break grounds. Oh my god, it's going too quickly. So a shovel, penetrate soil or scrape surface, greater curve and deeper bowl, scoop and move large amounts of material. Wait, that looks different again! Yeah. So they have this scooper. This just looks like an actual scooper, whereas this one down here is completely different. But yes, the pointed edge would be to penetrate the ground, whereas the square one, it says cut roots or break ground rather than penetrate the ground. I don't think this reel was as helpful as I thought it was going to be. Straight edging on garden beds, cut soil and dig holes. So basically, you just use whichever one you need for the job that you need. Stupid. I'm from New Zealand, Greg Lowe. New Zealand. I always thought a spade for cutting, digging, and tilling the soil. Shovel was for scooping and moving. Well, it looks like it doesn't matter. Ooh, a claw hammer, fun. Other bug, gasp! They have spiders in our house! Our plan to harass homeowners are now considered foiled! That's exactly it. That's why we need the spiders in our house. It makes sense. There's the mythical Spubble, adorable. We're really digging our own rabbit hole for sure. I always thought spade for digging and shovel for well, that's the thing is people are learning that they have their own views on things. And you know what? It turns out that you can call anything a spade. That's what we're learning. You can call anything a spade. All right, I'm going to call it there, YouTube. So thanks for hanging out. I enjoyed myself. I hope you enjoyed yourself as well. Again, if you want to come hang out, then you can come over onto Twitch, or you can go watch the XClem Plays YouTube channel. However, that one will not be live for another 30 minutes while I have a little break. And we might see you if you want to play some games. Otherwise, we'll hopefully see you tomorrow for some show and tell, and then we can hang out again in the future. And then check out all the other links if you want to be on Instagram or whatever. Much appreciated. Thanks, YouTube. See you later.